Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Midweek Hump. We're here for episode 128. I'm not even doing the dad joke this week because it's just there's not enough people here, and I don't like Brahma that much. So, as evident from last week when I just ghosted everybody. Sorry everyone for not showing up last week. We had a family vacation planned for Vegas. We went and stayed at Circus for from Wednesday to Sunday. And yeah, I just totally spaced on it because it took a lot to get everything planned. And yeah, really annoying. I know you guys missed us, but we're here tonight. Brahma, it's good to see you. I know we saw each other last night, but
we played a little bit of Path of Exile too.
Yeah. How has your week been? Or 2 weeks?
Pretty good. Not much going on. I mean, we finished 1923, so that was fun. We talked about that on Monday. I like the show. If you haven't watched it, I think you should. I think everybody should probably watch that one, even if you weren't a fan of Yellowstone. These can be standalone. But yeah, we talked a bit about that. Not much going on, really.
Dude,
besides the political stuff with all the tariffs and stuff, but we don't typically get too deep into that on here.
The Yellowstone series, is that like does one benefit from watching it in order or as they came out, like Yellowstone first and then to like 1889 or whatever it is, and then
so 1883 is like the great grandparents going to found the ranch.
Yep.
Then 1923 is a couple generations removed from Kevin Costner's generation. So it's just the different generations of the family.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's just the different generations of the family. That wouldn't really matter which order you watch them in, honestly, because all you're seeing is just ancestors in the spinoffs.
Okay.
But they can technically stand alone. Right? You know where it's ultimately going, but they can technically stand alone.
That is one of the things I made a juicy little TikTok the other day about like movies that are overrated or that you think are overrated but people like celebrate. And I said the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and I was like, hold on, don't rip my head off just yet. But it was for the reason that like we don't always need to know where these characters come from and where they are, because like the original trilogy is great. Like sometimes you're this ominous, like your big bad is like, it's great to like, no, he's just there and he can have his arc, but I don't necessarily need to know how he got there. And I do like the books. The books are really cool. That go the extended universe stuff is cool and all, but
what they call legends now.
Yeah, what they call legends. But like I don't always love that. Like, we're just gonna put this here because you liked these other characters, and now we'll show you kind of where they came from. But in this case, it's a little different because you're not dealing with those people necessarily. You're dealing with like their ancestors way before. So
yeah, so you would have to look at it kind of like Dune. Like the main character of Dune is Dune, the planet.
Yep.
In these shows, the main character kind of is the ranch. If you think about it that way, then you're just getting backstory on what has happened on the ranch, prior to the Yellowstone series.
Okay. DB Wild came through with a really good comment, and I'm going to read this out loud because I love it. He said, "Oh my, the selfishness of forgetting to parade yourself on screen for a handful of people around the web because you lost track of time by spending it with family stuff. For shame." Thank you for saying this, because this is how I think. Like I was stoked. We had a good week. It was a hard week, but it was worth it. It was great to be with the fam. We drove down to Vegas. Like, it was just under 7 hours from where I live. Really nice little drive. So I am sorry that I wasn't here, but it was for a good reason, obviously.
Well, and it wasn't the fact that you weren't here that was the problem. It was that you forgot to tell all of us on the show.
Right, exactly. It's more so a big apology that I didn't respect others' times who were probably like, "Hey, I'm ready to be here," and so that was a big.
When are we going live? There's no link.
Right. But I did want to say hello to the other ones. Tim Hayes is here. Good to see you, man. Really awesome that you're here every week. I really appreciate you.
We don't know where Jesse is.
Yes, we don't know where Jesse is, and that's fine. He's probably taking care of his kids because he's got 20 of them, and one's really little. But good to see you, Jack. Always a pleasure, man. And that's who we have. Everyone else is kind of lurking. Oh, and the Devastator
just came in. Yeah.
What's up, pal? What's going on? Oh, and Argos's been lurking. He's a member for 19 months. The son of a bitch says, "We got a handsome gentleman." And then Shags. What's up, fellas? Hey, what's going on, bro? Thank you. And Tim Hayes became a member as well. Says, "Hail, guys. Thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate it." I did forget to put up there. I'll put a goal up again. Not as big as we did last time, but it's sort of the last little community push for Sheep City and in Horror Amarada. If you guys want to support a community gift, wedding gift for them, let me.
Because we won't be here next Wednesday.
Yeah, we won't be here next Wednesday. And I didn't reach out to the Salty Nerd guys, so I don't think we're going to do a show down there. It just gets really chaotic unless someone invites me on there. But I can't figure out a good time. I think the only good time would have been Thursday day, and everyone's working. So I don't know if it's the right thing. So we won't do a show this year down there, but we'll be back the week after. Let me just set this.
But we'll be hanging out either way. We just won't have the cameras on, broadcasting our conversations,
right?
Unless we do.
Let's see. We'll just do a goal of 5 super chats, tier teal or higher 5, for the next. I guess we're usually here for 3 hours. So we'll just do 3 hours. And how do we celebrate? A wedding gift for Sheep and Amorata. So we already have a pretty good running total. I want to say it's like $150 or just under that. So we did really good the last time.
Very good.
Yeah, no, it was a great success.
I agree on the prequels. I was never a fan, and that was at the time and going forward, not the look back at it, and was not a fan. My big thing was it should have always started basically where Attack of the Clones started. You shouldn't have had the first movie, period. We didn't need a whole bunch of intergalactic bureaucracy, scenes.
Yeah.
I like the action that they did in these. The dialogue was absolutely atrocious.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't the same retelling of the original movies that they started off with in the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I mean, it should have been like the Clone Wars. He has his fall, and then Vader starts wiping everybody out. That should have been the 3 movies.
Yeah, I can see that. And the prequel trilogy, a lot of the characters were just very uninteresting. And not that I'm a Jar Jar Binks hater or whatever, but I didn't I get that there's always these quirky characters that are in Star Wars, and that's fine, but it just seemed like they were always reaching too much, and like the Boba Fett and Jango Fett stuff, don't care.
Yeah.
It just seemed to be there. And really the better of everything was actually the Clone Wars, the animated stuff. Told a much better story about Anakin's sort of rise and fall as a Jedi. But there's also good parts of it. It's hard to argue like Duel of the Fates. It's a great song. It's a great lightsaber fight. It's one of the best in the series, I think.
Probably is the best in the series, except for maybe Mustafar.
Yeah, Mustafar was good. But that's even
a 20-minute long fight too.
Yeah, and even then, at that point, I was so I wasn't like most people. I wasn't a fan of Hayden as as Anakin.
Right.
Like I just didn't believe him, you know, and that was like, yes, he kind of looked evil at that point, but he just had this like too like much of an emo look to him,
Right.
you know, it kind of took me out of it. Like, wait, this guy's supposed to be like choking people in a little bit. Like, what's going on
he
here?
just killed all the kids.
Yeah. But like even that was like such a drastic turn. Like all of a sudden, like I know you get these
because they left it
inklings.
to one movie when it should have been like in the second movie, and you see the harder stuff happen in the third movie.
Right.
But they had to rush it because they did not tell the story right.
Yeah, totally.
In my opinion. I know people like it. I like it a hell of a lot better than the sequel series, but I'm not going back to watch the prequel trilogy for fun.
No. Tim, I was 14 in 1999, so I was old enough to know. An emo look, I mean, like he just had the like the long wavy hair that was kind of down in his face a little bit. It wasn't
the
a
goth
convincing
without wearing the black lipstick.
Yeah, and I mean there's things that there's costumes and there's that look the part, that really like bring out like someone's like evil, and Hayden Christensen just couldn't pull it off. And like and that's the thing, is like what made Darth Vader so menacing was you didn't know really what he looked like. And the final reveal like was a broken old man, which made sense, I think, in everything, because he had just been torn down his whole life. And emotionally, mentally, physically, and then to have his son undo all that at the end, and you just see what's left of him, just a shell.
Yeah.
What did Vex say? I have evidence that Shag sells pictures of Hobbit feet to fellow creators. How about you get
Vex
in here
has
and
been
talk some
purchasing
story?
them.
Yeah. Oh, hey, look, we have a king. We have a Kang.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
What's going on?
What's up? You abandoned us, and I heard your explanation, but I'm not satisfied.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Don't hurt me.
I was wondering. I was like, he's not streaming. And then the next thing I know, like several days later, I see pictures of you, all around Vegas or wherever you were. Kind of felt me. It touched my heart in the most negative way.
Right. I'm so happy he's there with his family, abandoning us.
Yeah.
Because it's not like Shags has a history of just stopping shows.
I never do that. Listen, I've done it once.
Just
okay,
for 6 or 8 months or whatever it was.
Hey, we all got to recharge our batteries and come back and do great again. But there was something. I was trying to convince Vex to get on here because there was something I was going to bring up. Where are my bookmarks? I have like 1,000 bookmarks from this past week. Okay, I want to talk about something. This is gonna be a good discussion, and no real shade to anybody, but maybe a little bit, because King, you've butted heads with me on this, and
since you're here, let's start a fight.
Let's start a fight. Because honestly, I'm getting sick of this, and I'm just sad. Hold on. Where is this stupid thing? There we go. We're going to talk about this.
AI art?
Oh,
AI art.
this. Oh, I was hoping it would be like something about, I don't know. I don't know. Not this. It wasn't I should have expected this. I seen this earlier. I'm just going to preface this whole discussion with, I also, this was actually probably a step like too far. Like, what's wrong with her leg? Go ahead. Finish. Because this is, yeah.
I mean, and Vex said it before I could. The girl looks a little young to me. First of all, it was like it was one of my first thoughts when I saw this. I'm like, could we make maybe a more mature model?
Right.
I don't I understand.
Maybe, but it's obviously not supposed to be prepubescent or anything either.
Yeah, I don't want to read too much into it, but
don't look at her face, and you might be right. This is again, this is another one of the issues you have when it comes to like AI generated stuff. Is like if like you could probably just change out her head, and this would be like a bit more acceptable or make more sense.
Sure.
But it just it's a I like using this word.
That anime plastic look. I don't maybe bobblehead look.
Yeah. But like it's a jarring sort of like she's gonna come on for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a jarring sort of like, and this is the problem with AI art. You can your eye knows like something is off here. And this is one of the things is like, this doesn't like really look right. And he even admits like he couldn't get the mouth right. And that to me is, again, it comes down to like, it's an artistic thing. You need to learn mouths. You need to practice drawing a mouth. Like you need to practice drawing hands. You need to look at many different sources in order to get that down. And AI art can't cheat everything as much as you might want it to. Again, you can have things out of proportion. Like the shield's obviously way too big for her, probably. Maybe even the sword. Like that stuff I'm not too worried about, but like it just
right. It's not a demonstration meant to be perfect. That much is clear.
Yeah.
But when I'm not against AI art. As you said, we've had our differences of opinion on it. I am not against AI. I think that artists absolutely should embrace it, or they're going to get left behind. Like look how far we've come in a year's time, 2 years, even in 10 years. I mean, there are already people, mostly boomers, but there are already people who have difficulty telling the difference. In 10 years' time, it's going to be indistinguishable. So artists, especially digital artists, people who traditional artists, they got to get on board, or they're going to get left behind. With that said, Shad is a little bit. He is definitely a warrior for AI, and some of this stuff, especially this example, it's a little off.
Vex, welcome to the show. It's so nice to have you here. We always like a good female opinion.
Yeah. I'm from the South.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm humbled to be here. It is genuinely a pleasure always to be on the midweek hump, regardless of the day. That's as nice as I'm going to be. What does the caption say to this retarded tweet?
Okay, you want me to read what he wrote?
Please, and if you could you do it in your best Shad voice as well, just so I can really get an idea of what this PDF file was thinking and feeling when he typed this out? And
so you want Shags to yell into the microphone?
Because I've yet to read this, so this is going to be a first for me.
Yeah, this is a first for me too.
I can't do an Australian accent though.
Okay, then how about this? Just do a fucking pervert's accent, okay? Sorry, I'm stretching at the same time, so
Jesus.
So just read it as normal, Shags.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I'll just read it out loud. I've been watching a lot of isekai anime lately, and I really like being a furry. I mean, that's not what it says. Solo leveling is the best, and it put me in a mood to illustrate an anime style fantasy adventure, and I had a lot of fun working with a more animated style with bigger eyes. My favorite parts of her smile and expression, which I needed to shape manually as with everything else in the image, but make sure you note that, but the smile took the most work. I put in extra effort into the background of this one, and I love her sword, shield, and armor, which I designed myself, which shouldn't need to be said, but people just assume the AI does all the work when it's quite the opposite with how I make my images. I literally made a 3D model for that sword, and I love its design. I think I'll illustrate a companion for her and add him to the image. Uwu, is that what that symbol is?
Maybe.
Oh no,
I
it's
don't
just a smiley face.
There's just
Just-
yeah.
Ooh.
I'm guessing the issue here for Vex in particular, this specific issue, is how a lot of anime enjoyers have a tendency to also enjoy the infantilizing.
I'm not even gonna. I'm an anime enjoyer. I have a Sailor Moon tramp stamp. I'm very proud of. I am also a bit of a pervert, so maybe that does track. But I think my bigger issue is that like it's the Snow White thing. First of all, is an interesting choice. Like of all the things to sexualize, I would never pick Snow White just
Yeah.
because in every iteration of
Yeah.
the story, she's like 14 or 15 years old.
and like a very modest character too. Never
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is not like it's an innocent, like it's a representation of pure innocence, quite literally. So it's I guess maybe the fantasy to like corrupt innocence, but I'm kind of sick of these like I'm sorry, Shags, I told you your channel was gonna be a risk. I'm really sick of these creators that have a larger platform and who like to parrot that they are trying to defend art or entertainment or culture, but really all they want to fucking do is get hard and have other people understand what gets them off. Like I understand that there is a genuine argument to be made about maybe desexualizing sexy characters, making feminine characters a little bit too visually masculine. There's a genuine conversation we can have about that. But there's a lot of 6-lettered F words that just want to have you embrace how perverted they are. And it's literally what the rainbow side of the aisle does as well. They just want you to embrace their degeneracy. This is two sides of the same coin. I don't care if you like AI art or not. Again, that's a whole different discussion. It's that this is where you chose to take it, tells me all I need to know about you. All I need to know about your stances. This is disgusting. This is dumb. Like, thanks for telling me that you're a fucking retard. I appreciate it now.
Vex Electronica, everybody.
Best 5 minutes of the evening.
By the way,
You're going to enjoy that cigarette now, Vex.
I
I
don't
have to
smoke
tell
anymore,
you.
but I might smoke in Vegas.
You really nailed the pervert's accent, Shaq.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's great.
Well, and this is the thing about, like, I guess my criticism of this when I look at it, again, I use the word jarring because there's multiple styles, like even from an artistic point of view, like you have multiple styles blended here that don't fit. And like I do like the environment, like the
background is very nice.
Yeah, but I mean, let's not forget these people are about to walk off a cliff. Like I spent so much time on this. Well, could you connect where are they walking? You know, again, if you're going to use AI, fine, but let's not pretend that it is somehow superior to someone who is like thoughtfully putting all this out, connecting, you know, actually making this a connected walkway, understands how to make this art style match this art style behind it. It's weird. And look, there's a giant light source over here, and there's apparently another sun over here somewhere. Like,
is Chad sorry, just to interrupt you, is Chad like a defender of AI art?
Oh yeah.
He
loves it. Absolutely.
What is his like over? Can you just like in 50 words or less tell me what his stance is on AI art?
Wow, you can come on my channel and tell me how many words I can use.
I mean, I don't. If you want, you could do more, but I was just hoping for the bare minimum answer.
Yeah, I mean,
he likes it a lot.
He likes it a lot. It should be used all the time. Is basically like
just because he likes it,
not as a
be used all the time.
Not as a replacement of artists, but as a useful tool or for somebody who cannot do art themselves.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, he overuses it. Like it is very obvious that what he does. And again, one of my issues is I used to love watching compositors on YouTube, like people who take like completely unrelated photos and blend them into one picture. So they basically do what AI does, but they do it with Photoshop, with the knowledge of how to color correct properly. And again, they would
semi-artistic in a sense.
Right. It's way more artistic than this because again, you have to understand, like they would take this image and they would understand that the light source is here and they wouldn't have all this like weird. You can't see my mouse pointer, but like the shield here is like there's a light source directly above her, but then between the buildings there's like a light source coming back from there too.
Yeah, the shadow doesn't make sense in front of her whatsoever, and
right.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, that's fair. DB Wild, Shad, he does. It's more he pushes assisted than he does 100%. That's kind of where I deviate from Shad, because there's a time and a place. You know, if you're trying to get some inspiration, or if you're trying to gather up some backgrounds real quick and you just want to scan over and just to kind of push your project along, that's one thing. But over reliance, like you pointed out, Shags, the details in the background, like because he didn't generate that himself, because he didn't do it, he's missing out on it's really easy for people to do, and they do it all the time, miss out on those details. Like they even today, like when they generate those, like on Grok or whatever, you can see like the fingers every once in a while. Somebody will miss it, plus like they're just missing, like, or they have 15 extra
They've got
fingers.
an extra one.
Yeah. Even it still happens today, and people overlook it.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that was basically it. It's just people, like, there's a time and a place.
Oh, I'm just did he intentionally make it look like Rachel Zegler, or is that just by accident?
I don't know. I mean,
the eyes are pretty far apart.
For a guy that is also like hopped on that hate train, I'm surprised that the AI art he's pushing looks so much like her.
Oh, he's got a whole channel for AI art. I didn't even realize that. Wow. Grant's here to edumacate, because he is the AI master.
Oi, mate. How you doing down under?
Oh, I don't know if I should be offended or turned on by that.
How are you?
I'm going to lock in a little bit of both. Yeah, no, doing good.
Good.
Go ahead. Chad's making waves again, as per usual. Yeah. I think the biggest thing that you've got to understand is Shad is a half decent artist, but a terrible compositor.
Yeah,
that's the problem with it. Like, his brother is a brilliant artist who can literally take a thought in his head and put it on paper. Shad doesn't have that. Then there's nothing wrong with using AI as an assisted sort of thing. The way in which he uses a lot of diffusion methods and a thing called a control net, where it's essentially he draws a picture of what he wants with his crude skills, and then the AI poses the creature or the person or the background or whatever it is like that. And then he goes into Photoshop and fine tunes all the stuff. That's where the issues are happening from that point.
Okay, that makes sense.
This isn't just, he hasn't just typed in woman with sword and everything like that. He's probably spent 10 hours doing it. But like every sort of artistic skill that you have, it's a skill that you've got to get better with over time. Like, for instance, if it was me doing this, because when I started doing the stuff with Photoshop, I've been doing that for 20 odd years. Photo compositing and everything. I probably watched half the channels that you did, Shags. The first thing that I would do is I would just darken the entire front of it. She's got to have a halo between her around her hair. Yep. Where the top of the sword is, there should only be a very faint line coming off there. There's just too many light sources.
Yeah, a lot. Very bright photo.
And everything has its own light source.
Yeah, I mean, and if that's the style of what he wants to go for with everything, then that's fine. It doesn't have to look realistic. But from my point of view, if I was to like take this and redo it, it wouldn't take much to make it blend into the background almost seamlessly. Probably about half an hour to an hour's worth of work, and you wouldn't be able to really tell it was AI apart from, say, maybe the face sort of thing, because that's already gone through some enhancements.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, Chad makes the most noise about it because he's the most vocal when it comes to it. But what he says is right up to a certain point. When it comes to it.
The idea he gives his opinion.
The idea of calling yourself like an AI artist, it's a weird terminology. Just call yourself, if you want to say you've done something, just call yourself an artist to be done with. But an AI artist, it's a weird term. I use the term AI enthusiast. I use AI assisted tools for everything. I've been using AI-assisted tools since 2002 when I first used my Lightroom to make 3D images. It uses I don't draw the light in that when an object hits another thing. That's all AI-assisted.
I guess it's like kind of what you said, Grant. Like I think I would be more okay with this if he was like more upfront with like, hey, I'm using this as like I'm an AI compositor. Like I do a lot of drawing, and if he explained his process a little bit more with it's the hubris, right? It's just like if you really take an artistic eye to this, it all falls apart, and that's my issue. Like the buildings in the background, like they're very obviously like it. There's nothing hand drawn about them. They're AI generated.
Scaling mountains, Shags. Give him the benefit of the doubt.
But I mean, again, I don't know. What I don't want is I don't necessarily disagree that that artists need to adapt some of these tools, but I want people to understand that like the skill that goes into developing the eye for lighting and coloring and all this stuff it's like years in the making, and we shouldn't be substituting that for this, in my point.
What do you mean substituting it for the? What do you mean?
Well, we shouldn't be like looking at this like, oh, like his argument last week of like, oh, this looks just as good as Studio Ghibli, and I want to be like, but you're missing the point here. Like part of the magic of a Studio Ghibli like animation is that
is the 45 years it takes for them to put a scene together. I mean,
I hate to say it, but yeah, like
your argument is it's missing the soul, the purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. That's an argument to be had. Yeah.
Also, what you're saying is because if something is more efficient, therefore it's not as good.
Right.
Wait, say that again, Grant. Sorry.
If something isn't as efficient, like because you said it takes forever to do it, but if Studio Ghibli took half the time, it would be half as good.
Not necessarily, but I mean, I think there's.
Is it you're trying to say it's disrespectful to those that have kind of cultivated their own art style and put in the effort to make something of value, both like intrinsically and extrinsically, and here's someone with AI being like, oh, look, I can do the exact same thing, but it's missing everything that makes Ghibli art, in this example, special or unique or enjoyable?
Yeah, and the other thing too is like you're arguing for like, well, everyone has access to these tools, so it's like, okay, so now we're getting into everyone has the tools, so nothing's going to be special. Like everyone has the ability to do this, so we're losing like the real ability to like create timeless art because
artistry.
Real artistry.
Completely disagree. The fact of the matter is the push of more AI art and everything that's going out there has drawn way more people into getting proper art done by artists and everything. More art from artists has been sold individually now than it has in any other time. That's the thing, because here's the thing, like I could make an image that looks exactly like what the Ginger Ninja does. Or I could pay him $60 for him to do something on a napkin for me. That's going to be worth more value to me. Even if they look the same, it's not about the output. It's about what the piece of art means to you. If someone looks at this piece of artwork and loves it, we are not to say that that's not a bad piece of art to them. Art is all subjective. I even hate to say modern art, but like, I mean, I like to draw a line with modern art because I think that's just pretentious shit. But that's my wall, my barrier that I'm putting up.
Just zooming out and sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Just zooming out. Just in general, we humans is what we do. We make tools for efficiency's sake, enjoyability's sake, whatever. We make tools, and it's not inherently bad that we make tools that take things from being taking years to do a scene through hand-drawn animations down to just a few seconds and whatever you can get in a prompt. See, to me, inherently, that's not a bad thing. I mean, you can argue quality and whether or not there's real soul in it, but if it does effectively, as Grant was saying, if it does the same thing, if it has the same value for what you need it to have, then who cares? I mean, I'm not, not trying to be a dick, but who cares? Like, who cares if, the soul of the Ghibli studio art is not there anymore? And I mean, I feel bad for them. Yeah, they put in a lot of hours and work, but now you have AI who can put this stuff out in a matter of seconds. I mean, I would see it more as a, what's the word?
You don't think any value is lost in that?
Not in the original case, absolutely
you can put it
not.
out. What's that?
Absolutely not. And your Studio Ghibli will always be fantastic as what it is. Whether someone can replicate it in half the time, or that does not take away from what it was.
I agree.
I can have a 1969 Valiant Payson that is one of the coolest cars in my opinion. There's Ferraris and everything out there that exist. That doesn't mean that my car is any less valuable to me. It's still an awesome car. It's always going to be an awesome car. Nothing's going to change it just because they can now manufacture the same essential car in like a tenth of the time.
Right.
Yeah, just to add on as well, like it seems like you're approaching this a little bit more from like a moral standpoint as opposed to like an objective value standpoint. Because even like when you think Studio Ghibli as well, yeah, the art style is recognizable, but whether an AI is copying that style or not, it doesn't have Ghibli's ability to get like craft characters, create compelling narratives, make amazing scores, and all of that stuff. But like I agree with Grant. Yet I agree a little bit more with Grant, even though I kind of oppose AI art just for personal reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see a huge issue with it. I see an issue with it if you're trying to actively replace other art forms or other artists. But even then, like you have to be so specific and almost have a skill in itself to get prompts to generate what you're truly looking for. And even then, like there's actually been a number of times where I've generated prompts and then sent it to an artist and be like, hey, can you fix this for me? So in a sense, you're still not completely discrediting the artist in that case.
That's what Shad's doing. He's not creating. He's spending 90% of his time fixing an image. It's the reason with coding, the reason why there was the 90 to 10 ratio. You used to spend 90% of your time writing the code, 10% of the code time debugging it. Now with AI and everything coming into it, it's still the 90-10 rule. It's the complete opposite. 10% of the time is the code being written. Now you've got to spend 90% of your time just debugging it, trying to fix it to get it to work. That's essentially the way in which I see what Shad is doing compared to other forms of AI art that are just typing in a picture of Supergirl and letting it go.
Gotcha. Yeah, so there's nothing super wrong with it, but again, it just depends on whether you see this as a moral issue or a, kind of like market value issue.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I don't like the look of the art that he does.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either. It's got a little bit of an uncanny valley kind of thing going on.
Yeah,
with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wish it had more of an uncanny valley because then it would be its own style. That's the problem that I have with it.
Fair.
It's not. Yeah, it's too close, but it's not close enough.
Yep, I could see that for sure. And again, I don't want to necessarily. I don't know Shad well enough. I just know him from his AI takes, and I don't particularly care for that. Like I use AI in different ways. I don't really use it for art at all, and I wouldn't try and like pass it off as like art necessarily. I think it's probably just a moral thing for me, is what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Which there's nothing wrong with that. But
right,
but my golden toilet. You're learning.
Yeah, you're learning 3D though. That's filled with artificial intelligence to do those things. You're not physically smoothing any of those subsurfaces.
Yeah.
You're not calculating exactly how the light bounces off an object and then drawing that light. You're setting up a light. You're hitting render and it's going.
Yeah, I don't have, I guess, enough knowledge to debate that, but I consider that to be different. But I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, in AI art has been around for ages. It was just called machine learning. It had a completely different name. Just because we've now got this umbrella terminology of AI being something which is completely bogus because we don't actually have any AI yet. It doesn't exist. We just have advanced machine learning and large language models that just have a lot of information. That's literally all we have.
Okay. What, Brahma?
Nothing. I just the last year and a half on the talks about AI, it's just like, I don't care. It's a tool.
Yeah.
We'll use it or we won't. It'll be effective or it won't. If it speeds up processes for me and things that I'm not capable of doing, like skill wise, then fine, bring it on. Because I'll use AI art for a thumbnail every day of the week. I don't have the time to throw those things together, or the patience or caring to. So if I could just have it generate something, boom, thumbnail done. Yay.
Oh.
There we go.
No, why my lips so big? Look, I'm feeling targeted.
Yeah, well, I might have said that you're part black, so that's why.
Brahma looks like Odin. I think that's
he does.
funny.
Yeah.
So, while I do want to cover a couple of things while Vex is here. I know she's gonna turn into a pumpkin soon, but I saw this tweet from Razorfist and I thought it would be a good thing to talk about. And obviously the Nintendo stuff didn't go over well with anybody. Everyone's mad. Personally, I'm not surprised that Nintendo is the first one to jack the price. Everyone knew that this was coming, that things were going to get more expensive, not even necessarily because of inflation or whatever, but because there's been talks of games starting to cost, $80, $90, $100 with what's it, Grand Theft Auto 6. They're saying it's
$100 for GTA 6.
Right. So Razorfist said Sony launched the PS5 at $500 with $70 launch games. We made a few jokes about its empty game library, but otherwise no drama, no dogpile, not a peep. Can someone explain why Sony never got the same level of hate as Microsoft and Nintendo, despite being worse than both? I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this.
May I?
Yes, of course. Please do.
All right. Sorry. It's just I feel I got to ask the men in the room first.
Yeah.
Thank
you for asking the patriarchy.
Yeah. We're not in the same room as you.
Oh, okay. Fair. In the digital room. There you go. In the digital room. I get what he's saying here. There's a lot of people that have made this argument for a very long time. Like everyone shat on Xbox when the Xbox One was announced because of the online connectivity, and what's his face was like, oh well, if you want to not be connected to the internet, there's a console that exists. It's the 360, and it basically killed the Xbox brand. Xbox is still struggling now. Sony's basically been copying what Xbox did and got shat on by the entire console crowd in general. Nobody has said a word about it. And Nintendo's been pushing this envelope for like 10 years since what's his face died in 2015. It's gone from being a company run by an actual enthusiast to just businessmen. And they've been pushing the envelope ever since. But we've just, like, people have just been letting Nintendo get away with it because of that legacy.
Yeah.
It's got that 50 years of consistent value, consistent delivery now. So it's no surprise that it went here. They weren't even the first ones to jack up prices, though, when you really think about it. That was Sony like 6 or 7 years ago. They were the first one to introduce $70 games. Yeah. And nobody said a peep about it. It's the same thing with online all the time. Yeah. I remember talking with people almost 10 years ago about that. I was like, it's a bad thing if you need to be online all the time. Same with digital only releases. That's not a good thing to have for any form of media. Yeah. And because gamers are inherently consumers, they don't give a fuck because it's just like, ooh, shiny thing. Ooh, shiny thing. Yeah. So that's how Nintendo is able to launch this piece of shit console, which doesn't match any of the standards of any other console on the market right now. It's at an inflated price for the value that you're getting to. Just all of the specs for this thing suck. It's got a button on it that's locked behind a paywall after a year, by the way, which no one is really talking about.
Wait, say that again?
So what do you mean?
So there is a C button on the Nintendo Switch 2, right? That C button is a chat button to allow for online like chat functions, but you cannot use that button or access the feature unless you pay for an online subscription.
For the online.
So for the first year till like March 2026, you'll have access to that if you own a Switch 2. But after that, you have to pay into the ecosystem to access a button that comes on the console.
So quick,
And if
quick
you
pause.
don't, guess what's going to happen while you're in gameplay and you accidentally brush across that button? I'm sure it will pause it and it will take you to a menu. Would you like to purchase this?
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is just my quick, like, knee-jerk thought. It's not well thought out because I just learned about this. As someone who I play my Switch minimally online, it's usually like their first-party games, which like there's no chat, there's no whatever. But my kids play it a lot, and my kids have played Roblox on there and a couple other things. And I would say I'm kind of for that. I almost don't want them to have access to a chat in that. And like I'm almost okay with it being behind a paywall. Again, this is my knee-jerk thought on it because of how I use it. And I've never in the past used a Nintendo for this way. It's always single player offline.
Probably already do that in parental controls.
Exactly.
Right.
Without forcing other people to have to pay for it.
Right. Yes. Again, that's like, again, my knee jerk was that's the response, but yes, you make a good point there.
But
go ahead.
Yeah, Daddy Nintendo's got to think for us. They have to take control because we don't need the control. They have to control it. So,
and also, it's hilarious that they're adding the ability to chat with other people to their system and acting like they're the first to have done it, or that it's just so innovative and new. It's like
the dangerous precedent is not so much that Nintendo is setting the trend, because the trend was already there before Nintendo decided to do it. It's just that they realized finally that, console buyers are really that fucking dumb, and they will literally buy whatever we put out at them. So
they can get away with it.
Right.
Okay. People pre-order digital copies of games.
That's crazy.
That just goes to show you how dumb people are when it comes to
Yeah, so they're monetizing the market the best way they can, and all that's going to do is like down the line, because we already have all of these restrictive features on like Xbox and PlayStation when it comes to online accessibility and chat functions and what you can say and what you can't do and all that stuff. It's just like Nintendo's really just catching up, but now instead of just keeping all of that stuff to the online ecosystem, now they're just trying to fully control and monetize the physical console gaming experience.
Well, I don't.
Down the line, you're going to see like more buttons, or more like just like general kind of like accessory features that, guess what? You might have bought this special controller, but you can't access it unless you pay for this installation fee or whatever.
Right. It's trying to lock everything behind a service, which I don't really have a dog in the fight because I don't purchase their planned obsolescence trash. But I do I do think the whole console war back when PS2 released, when Nintendo 64 released, like those days, like they're over. Like back then that it was cool. Nowadays, I mentioned this in Krigler's chat earlier. The whole concepts of console, it's a gimmick. They're branded PCs built specifically for the game company, with sometimes exclusives. The only difference with Nintendo is that they're exclusive for everything Nintendo.
Yeah.
And inadvertently that has made them the king of console right now. And like you said earlier, Vex, they're doing this stuff because they know they can get away with it.
Yeah. Well, and the reason nobody said it about the PS5 may have been, A, we were in a bit more prosperous time in the country, and B, nobody could get a freaking PS5 to complain about it.
That's exactly the point. There was 4 people that had the PlayStation 5. 3 of them loved it. They went 75% approval rating. That's all we need to know. That's how they worked it out. Like,
remember how long it took for them to get those actually onto shelves?
Yep.
I mean, it was like 2 years before they were actually stocked on shelves anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, there
I
were
think that was
buying
artificial,
them,
to be honest.
Yeah, people were buying them and reselling them for like $1,500, or like
right. I mean, there were whole YouTube channels that were just devoted to Best Buy's going to have a shipment this day in this city. Walmart's going to get it on this day in this city. All they did was track shipments, and when Amazon would be dropping, 35 of them that you could buy.
That's my wife. She had all those feeds. That's how we got our PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was literally what we had to do to get it.
So there was no there was nobody arguing about it because nobody could get it.
No one was. Yeah.
And nobody was buying the games because nobody had the system. So nobody cared about the price point at that point.
But it was also just a matter of that shiny thing. The PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series, those didn't launch with like any exclusives. It came right at the start of COVID. All of the games got pushed back for it. We're now 5 years into this almost now. I think there's only 15 exclusives to the PlayStation 5 specifically. All the other ones you can think of are you can access them on PC now.
Yeah,
there's
they're
still
mostly
no value to it.
Yeah,
like Dark Souls Remastered was about the only thing that I could get on the PS5 that I couldn't get on the computer for a while without emulating.
Yep, it's just it's all a gimmick.
It's been collecting dust for years now.
And let's be fair, the quality of the consoles, why the graphics and other things have gone up, has gone down since the PlayStation 3, which I still will argue with anyone was the best overall console because it had everything, that and the Xbox 360.
That's fair.
What are we getting? We're paying more for limited hardware and software.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right.
They're doing it on purpose. They literally are. It's planned obsolescence. They know that their fan base is consumer. Shiny object or the fear of missing out. They take advantage of it. They literally have teams in these mega corporations of people who just don't do anything but wrap their heads around how to manipulate people into buying.
Businessmen, just businessmen. There's no gamers here anymore.
It's a hollow shell of what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate because I think one of my favorite pastimes in video games has honestly been the new console. Like I remember, I mean, my first console that I got like personally, so the first one I played was the NES, but then I got a Super Nintendo was like my big Christmas gift with Donkey Kong Country. Then after that it was like I got a GameCube and I got the PS1 and like all of these things. Like there was always something to look forward to. Like, oh, the PS2, it's going to have this launch title. Or it's going to have this game on it. There's always something like good to look forward to. And kind of like what you said, King, like there's no putting the genie back in the bottle at this point. Like it's out, it's done. Like we're not going back to that, which is unfortunate because I think there was something really good about those like console wars. There was value in these companies competing against each other for like the best exclusive. Like Xbox had Halo, and then like for a while, like Sony had like the Final Fantasy series, but they also had that Resistance series, which was really good. Well, the first two were pretty good. Third one kind of sucked, but like there was always something you couldn't get somewhere else, and that was the reason to invest in that thing.
Yeah.
The key to all understanding how things have degraded, going back to Vex's point earlier, it's the online connectivity.
Yeah.
When they realized that they didn't have to compete so much and innovate and just push for video games as a service, it all went to hell.
It's the same fate as video stores, same fate as music stores. Like it's just the next thing that we used to buy. Like game stores now just sell merch, basically.
Yeah, they're glorified toy stores at this point.
Yeah, that's the weird irony. We lost Toys R Us, we lost all these toy stores, but now our video game stores are turning into toy stores.
Yeah, I went into GameStop the other day. My son likes to go in there. He likes Pokemon cards, and now they're buying and selling Pokemon cards now in there. I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I don't want plushies. I don't want this. I don't want that. Like, I just want to look. Because that was, I mean, I'm sure you guys also had a good time back in GameStop's heyday or EB or whatever place that you went to. Like,
crazy.
Like, yeah, you go in like, oh, I finished this game. I got a stack of 15 games I've played. I'm going to trade that in. I'm going to get 2 new games. You know, like it was the best thing to do on like a Thursday or Friday or Saturday. You know, go to the mall, get that all traded out. Like we just don't have that shit anymore. And it's a sign of the times too. You know, everything's digital. But
the good news is that this is all going to come crashing down real soon. And then the industry as a whole is going to have a massive reset, and we're not going to get back those golden years of gaming, but we are going to kind of feel that same that same positive vibe kind of flowing through it, because all of this is completely unsustainable. Whether you're looking at the console, the games, the development process, like this bubble needs to burst and it needs to come crashing down.
Cloud gaming is the next thing before that happens. Before everything fully integrates into cloud. Like the thing that it really annoyed me about Xbox is I could either spend all this money on getting an Xbox that has these limited things, or I could literally just download an app on my phone and buy an Xbox controller.
Yep.
And I can play it all via the cloud.
Yeah.
It's once that becomes the norm, then I can see it crash. I don't see it crashing now because people still have their rose-colored glasses on about the way things used to be. We're from the generation that can remember going to video stores and game shops and doing all this sort of stuff. And
physical arcades.
Physical arcades. We want to instill that in our kids. It's once they start leaving the nest, that's when it's going to crash because there's going to be no nostalgia tying it back. What are they going to be nostalgic for? Game Pass?
You know what's weird or what's really cool to see passes, though? I needed to get my Switch fixed because a couple of the buttons were all screwy, and there's a store right down the road that I didn't even know was there, but they sell all the retro consoles. It's like it's like EB or GameStop back in the day, like all the stuff on the walls. But the place was like, it wasn't packed, but there was like a decent amount of people in there looking around, like at some of the older stuff. Even some of the younger kids were scoping out the SNES stuff and PlayStation, like the older consoles. And it was actually kind of refreshing to see, like, maybe this is coming back. Like maybe people are like, they want to like reinvest in this stuff and get back to physical media. And maybe it's more of a mainstream thing than we realize. So, I mean, I hope anyway.
I'm hopeful too, like in that, because like I watch some of like I'll go on like YouTube Shorts and watch some of that shit, and it'll be like the reposted stuff from like TikTok, and I noticed like a lot more like of the popular video game creators too. They're kind of going back down these compared to this time, or like remember this game. So I feel like regardless of where current consoles are at, there's always going to be that demand, no matter the generation, to look back and kind of get a taste of what was and what used to be. It's just my concern is like when's the industry going to cannibalize that hobby as well, and turn it into something they can monetize? Like Nintendo's doing it with the Switch too. You can access a GameCube library.
Super Switch. I'm just going to refuse to call it Switch 2. It's so stupid.
Okay, but like there's a GameCube library that they'll have that's all digital, but you have to pay to access it.
But then to use the controller for it, you also have to pay a subscription to the controller bank.
That's wild
to do that.
Well,
but then on top of that, if you want to use the Rumble pack, that's the accessories pack that you've got to get, which is the plus plan. So that's what it'll all come down to. Like you'll have all the hardware, it'll just be locked.
I mean the controller, the GameCube controller they announced, you can only use that for GameCube games. You can't even use it for anything else that you buy.
That's
what good is
it? Crazy.
Like how dumb is that? Where you've got a plug and play device that works on a console. It's designed specifically for a console. They've put blocks in so it will not be recognized when a certain game gets put in.
Licenses. Yeah.
I know I mentioned this. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just saying it's absolutely ridiculous, and especially like from Nintendo, who have been the ones who have been the innovators in different controls and different ways to play games.
Yep.
And that's what I mean. It's just like the thing that made Nintendo the best system to have was they were always the most fun.
Yeah,
they were never the best game. They were the most fun. They were the most accessible. Like you look at the Wii controller, it's just a stick. There is no ergonomic factor to it or anything like that. The best thing that they ever did is put a strap on it so people stop destroying their TV. You had the boards, the ring fits. They've got all these stuff that they've done, but then they do nothing with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I know I've mentioned this before, but like there's a game on Steam called DLC Quest that everyone should pick up and have fun with it. But it's almost just a foretelling of like what we've come to realize, like what gaming has become. And you have to like use, like you collect coins in the game and you have to like purchase abilities in the game. So you start off and you can only move to the right, and you collect a couple coins, and then you got to spend those coins to unlock to go to the left. Then you get a couple more coins, and then you unlock jump, so you can jump over obstacles. And on it goes, because and we are literally in that spot right now.
Don't you love how our corporate overlords program us to purchase their product? It's great.
Yeah. And the worst part of this all is there's people out there that could be talking more about this, that could pointing this out more. And what are they complaining about? Oh, this character's tits aren't big enough. Oh, I can't look at this character's skirt.
Can you believe? Yeah. Can you believe that Sweet Baby Ink has created a black character that goes around picking?
Right. Oh my God, there's games that are getting government funding. Oh my goodness. Wow, government funding to push social ideology on us. Oh wow. But it doesn't matter. I'm still going to spend $600 on this fucking console so I can play it for a few super chats.
I'm going to complain about how expensive it is, but then I'm going to buy the game at $10 and put $400 into add-ons.
Right.
That's my favorite part. The hypocrisy in that is
I just I don't understand gaming discourse anymore. Like it's quite literally frustrating. There's no one that's really talking about what the problems are, and it just all leads back to, oh well, this is woke, or this is
any of busy making money off of it.
Any entertainment, it's like crazy. So this is a good pivot to the next part of entertainment, which I was going to go to, which is movies. Segue. Like movies. So I went and saw the Minecraft movie with my kids. My kids fucking loved it. They thought it was like, they thought they're the target audience, right? And I said this like when the movie was announced, like
you're going to trigger Gord in the chat, by the way, talking about this movie. Just a heads up.
That's fine. I thought it, like, my wife and I, we were laughing. It was funny at times. I think Jack Black was the most insufferable part of the movie. I don't like him anymore, unfortunately. He's way past his like funny prime.
Yeah, agreed.
But that's the problem when someone peaks in their 40s. Remember, he'd been acting for years, but he never got a role until he was 45.
Really?
People forget the guy's
old.
People forget the guy's in his 60s. Like,
no, he's not. Is he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta double check this now. Hold on.
Yeah. I think Grant's lying. There's no
Shags.
He's 55. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, he was in his 50s. That's what I said. I'm talking about inflation, the taraffs. They add everything to it.
The physical Jack Black is 10 years older.
Yeah.
Digital's younger.
That's what TDS did to him.
I can see, like, with that movie, like, there's this one I follow this guy.
I think it was 35. It was his first role. My bad.
Okay. I follow this guy on TikTok, and he does some decent movie reviews. Like, his story is like, he was a huge addict for a long time, and he only had like 4 DVDs, and he tells a story all the time about how he watched them over and over again and loved movies, and then he realized he could like monetize this whole thing when he got clean and he started having family, and so he started his TikTok talking about movies, and now he's like, he goes everywhere. He goes to Sundance, he goes to LA to watch these premieres and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like recently, he's been throwing in these like specks of like political shit, like he'll say something about Trump or Elon, and it's like, dude, like, I don't care about this. Like, all I want to hear is the movie. And he kind of did it again with the Minecraft stuff, and love it or hate it, like there is a degree to which like movies like Minecraft, who are targeted to kids, don't need to be as deep as people like want them to be. They don't need to be the next like Iron Giant. They don't need to be the next like Wall-E or something. Like, it can just be dumb fun.
They don't need to be good. Is what you're saying?
Well, it's not even that, like,
Actually,
but the thing is
what my daughter said. She said it's a meme movie. That's all we cared about. Fine with it. Don't need it to be not slop.
Yep.
Right. And
I mean, that generation growing up on TikTok and that kind of crap is like, yeah, we're fine with this because it gave us what we expect from the type of entertainment that we already watch.
Yeah.
And then younger kids don't know any better anyway. They just see stuff from Minecraft.
And real quick before you go, Grant, like, isn't the point to put butts back in the seats in theaters too? Like, that's the other part of where I'm like, it's a huge win in that respect. Anyways, go ahead.
I mean, fast food is technically still food, and I mean that goes for entertainment as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Not every film has to be Citizen Kane,
right?
Especially the ones that got Jack Black in it.
Right. Right.
Which we were fine with in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, because he was getting killed in everything.
Yeah.
Remember when he was the white Jamaican in how I was I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Was that him?
Really?
What? I don't remember that.
Yeah, and he got blown up in The Jackal by Bruce Willis.
Yeah. And then
I think Phyllis Seymour Hoffman killed him in something as well.
I don't remember that.
He was in The Cable Guy too.
He was in
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Now that y'all are saying this, is like bringing it back. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah. He's always a really good supporting role.
Boisterous, funny man.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The
He's
movie
easy to overlook, obviously.
I guess the thing with the Minecraft movie is how like self-aware it is, and how it was like not meant to be like, no one went into that thinking like, all right, guys, I want you here every single day. They're going to be reviewing the dailies, making sure that this is going to be the Oscar-winning performances that we need. Like, that's not at all what happened in this.
Is that what people's criticisms are, though? I kind of feel like that's a weird bit of a conflation there on what I've heard. Because I haven't really heard people saying that it's not a high art movie or it's not that we know it's going to be a terrible kids movie, but with a franchise like that, I think it could have been more. I think if it was just purely animated, do like what they did with Mario.
Yeah.
Like
the Minecraft Legends show or Dungeons, I can't remember which one it is. It's all 3D.
Legends, I believe.
Yeah, and when you watch, sorry, my hand's raised, so I'm just gonna go now. When you watch that, like when you watch the live action movie, like the way that they've done the background is almost identical.
My apologies for interrupting you then.
It's done the same way as like that animated show. So there's that first off. I think there's some value to, because like I watched and I was like, I could tell while I was watching it this is a terrible movie, but I still had fun with it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like stop, like the movie didn't end and I was like, why the fuck did I watch this? I was like, oh, I laughed a couple times. I thought the 69 joke was funny. Yeah. I also had the humor of a 10-year-old like most of the time, right?
Right. I figured you would like it,
right. And I also like, if you go and watch Minecraft content on literally any platform, it is quite literally weaponized autism. Like it is just meme after meme after meme. There is no break on it. So in a sense, they did understand who their target audience was. In the other way, though, it's called a Minecraft movie so that they can because it's just one adventure, right? There's more adventures to be had.
Right.
So this isn't the only
especially
story
with that post-credit scene, bringing in Alex.
So like guns. Creatively, they've painted themselves into a corner because there is no value in this movie whatsoever. No kid's going to be like, oh, I want to watch the Minecraft movie again, like endless times like we used to do with our favorite movies, right? Because there's nothing that's really going to keep you to your seat. It's just the next passing fad sort of deal. The other thing too is like it does try to be an actual movie, but then it just throws that aside to be the meme more than anything, which is quite disappointing. I think you can have your cake and eat it too. Like you can still appeal to your core audience, but you can make something of value. Because when you think about it, like, because you're a father, Shags, what is it that your kids have watched or that you have seen them watch that is going to stay with them or hit them the same way that Renaissance Disney did for a lot of us, or early Pixar did for a lot of us?
Well, I don't know. I don't even know. And this is, I haven't asked my kids, but I don't know how those films have even hit them if they have, like I don't, and I had said this in a tweet, like, I don't know. Like, I almost think that a lot of those movies, like the Renaissance Disney that you're speaking to, like those weren't necessarily messages for the kids as they were for like the teenagers and adults that were accompanying them, as like a look at the value in this, and then something that the kids can maybe revisit later. Now, to that point, like, could the kids go back and look at the Minecraft movie and be like, oh, look at all these lessons I learned here. I mean, there is one underlying lesson in it, and like they kind of touch on it briefly of like, I can stay here and life is easy and I can do what I want, or I can go to the real world and I have to work for what I want, but it's worth it. Like,
I disagree with you on your Disney point there that, like this was for the older audience. Cause like, I'm just saying, like, I loved fucking Aladdin as a kid. Like there's photographic evidence of me dancing around in my diapers to Aladdin and whatnot. Right. Like I was obsessed with Aladdin.
I liked it because it made me like there was a cool princess. It had all of these fun songs that I loved to sing all the time.
Yeah.
The characters were funny. So as a kid, I got it a lot. When I watched it again as a teenager, I learned a little bit more. When I watched as an adult, I learned it a little bit more. The great thing about that singular movie is that it appealed to 3 versions of me in very different ways and still stuck with me throughout my entire life.
But yeah, I agree. Jafar did nothing wrong.
Right? So when
the kids that grew up on memes like this, like, couldn't they do something similar? It's hard to see, like, I can't see it as well, but like, I think it's possible that my kids could go back and watch this again.
So,
and be like, this was fun. And then
here's my issue with the Minecraft movie. And like, I understand that our experiences here are going to be very different because I work with children and you're raising children.
Right.
I noticed that from working with children know, like, as the years pass, less and less am I seeing them actually attach themselves kind of creatively to literally anything.
Yeah.
I find more and more like it's just kind of because this is a generation that is growing up in the easy access, fast information era. Their brain isn't really given the time to sit and simmer on things because there's immediately something else that they can turn to. Fuck, like if I give a kid an iPad and they go on YouTube, they don't even finish the video. They'll watch 30 seconds of the video max, then click something else.
Yeah, because the good parts are at the beginning. Why would they put the good parts at the end of a 30-second video?
Right.
But like if you're appealing to an audience that has this kind of brain, that means that all the content you're making is just, for lack of a better term, TikTok brain. And slowly but surely you have the complete erosion of creativity and of artistic talent then as a result. And you're going to keep getting movies like this. It's the same thing you see with adult entertainment. We get dumb shit like those Rian Johnson like Onion movies, right? And people are like, oh my God, these are amazing. Oh my God, this is great. No, are you fucking retarded? This isn't. The standard has degraded so much over years that suddenly you think this is good. So I think you can walk the line of I can appeal to my audience, but I can also make something of substance. Because now, if they were to make a sequel to this, like 2-3 years from now, using the exact same kind of creative beats, it's gonna fucking bomb at the box office.
I would almost prefer to see something like if this was a Minecraft story or Minecraft movie, I would almost like to see something in like sort of the Love, Death, Robot sort of way, where it's a different art style, different like voice casting, like, you know, maybe hand drawn or maybe 3D.
Yeah, like animatrix sort of style.
Like
the same way,
that would be cool.
Yeah.
To have multiple movies like that might loosely tie together, or maybe not even all. Maybe it's just, but it would also probably better serve as a TV show that way. And that's likely not the way that they're going.
But so movies don't always need to teach a lesson as well. I mean, like, as you said about things like literally the only thing I can remember from my childhood that taught me a lesson in the movies is don't walk your horse over the swamp of sadness.
Yeah, exactly.
But that movie did teach a lesson.
Don't walk your horse over the swamp of sadness.
Well, the Never-Ending Story also taught about self-esteem and self-worth.
Yeah, and jumping off waterfalls always leads to good conclusions.
But here's my question: when did that message, whether it was in Aladdin, whether it was Never-Ending Story, whether it was whatever deep Disney movie it was, when did that message actually start to like really solidify in your brain? Because there's a difference, and I do think there's a huge like difference between the music that was made, like Tim Rice and all those guys that made those musical scores from early days of Disney to now. Like it's night and day. There's nothing memorable about a lot of these songs. Like that was a huge thing. But like when were we really starting to like get these messages in these movies? Because again, I don't think it was when you were 6, 7, 8, 9. I think it was more when you were 14, 15, 16, when you realized, hey, there was something catchy about that I really liked when I was little. Now I'm going to rewatch and, oh, hey, look at this. This is something way deeper that I didn't quite recognize. Does that make sense?
I don't know. The Land Before Time.
Oh, man.
That definitely, when I was younger, like when I think back, that's probably, if I had to pick one, like that touches my heart.
Especially The Land Before Time, because of all the behind the scenes shit as well. It's really hard to watch, especially hearing Ducky's voice, knowing what that poor girl went through.
You know, it's like What, like, so hold on. Your question is like, when did we stop viewing it as children and understand what the deeper meaning was behind the things that we loved as children?
Yeah, I guess it's hard to pin down because Gord does make an important
right
point. Right
after I saw the horse die, I was like, well, I'm never doing that.
just because you don't get a message at the age you receive it doesn't mean it shouldn't have taught you, which I get it, but I mean, like, it's hard to tell like what really stuck with us. Like, it could have been just the song, it could have been the deeper message. So, I don't know.
Can I let me offer something, because this is something I've noticed in the live action Disney remakes that have been coming out over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
If I go and watch, did we all see the remake of the Little Mermaid 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Of course not.
I couldn't get through the first 20 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to give you an example then. So in the animated version, in the 89 version, when she and Sebastian sing Sebastian sings the song Under the Sea, right?
Oh, this is about as far as I got in the.
It's Under Darcy, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay, so but I'm talking in the 89 version. So in the animated version, when they sing Under the Sea, right? Yep. With every line that Sebastian is singing, there's something that he's sort of describing, and while on the screen, you see this colorful array of what he is describing or what he is referencing. So as a kid, what you're looking at is like, oh, the song is catchy, but I'm remembering all of these colorful characters with these happy faces that are making like sometimes these weird noises or playing weird instruments, right? Mm-hmm. As you get older, then you understand the message a little bit more. You go to the live action Little Mermaid movie, when they sing Under the Sea, there is nothing that is trying to link back to what the lyrics are doing. So you have this completely disconnected message from what you're seeing visually on screen.
And the colors are so dull in that whole thing.
If we leave the colors out of it, right? So it's like when you watch a movie as a kid, regardless of whether you get the message or not, the people that are creating that movie understand, first of all, that this is going to be multiple audiences you're targeting, but it also understands how to get the kid in you watching, how to get the teenager in you watching, how to get the adult in you watching. Now kids movies have just kind of switched to, this is what kids watch, so we'll do this. But there doesn't have to be anything more to that. At least if you put, like, George of the Jungle is a great example, okay? I don't care what anyone says. George of the Jungle is a great kids movie. Why were moms taking kids to see George of the Jungle, though? Does anyone remember what Brendan Fraser looked like?
Because Brendan Fraser was naked in the film?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you had two approaches. Like, this was just a goofy movie about this guy who was kind of stupid and everything, and he thought that he was a monkey and whatnot. But moms were going to the movie being like, "Oh my god, he is oily and he is glistening for 90 minutes."
To be fair, now I mean, it only got to be that way in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yes,
the hypersexualization of culture. So when I think back on it, like, because I vividly remember that it was one of the. It's such a stupid movie, but it is a good movie. And you're obviously kids, you're not thinking about the fact that he's basically a naked man dancing around the screen. And
well, you think it's funny he's running around in his underwear, but it's not registering to you the physical.
Nowadays it's like, right. Certain things that they did then we can't get away with now.
Right. So, but like see what the shift is now? Like, it's just to like the immediate sensory or what's going to click and now that's kind of lost, because now we're in this like, oh, what if someone gets Me Too? Like, you know how you could guarantee that your Minecraft movie makes $1 billion? Make sure Jason Momoa was in shape and took his shirt off twice.
Hell yeah. What?
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like, no mom is going to take their kid back to go watch the Minecraft movie only to see Jason Momoa look like a weird, drugged up fucking Dora the Explorer instead of Aquaman.
I mean, could you imagine if he was in Magic Mike? That would have made $1 billion.
Yeah, probably. I don't think Channing Tatum is very attractive, personally.
Oh, he looks like he has Down syndrome.
Kind of, yeah. But Jason, like Aquaman, Jason Momoa, hell yeah. I'll go watch that 3 times in the theater.
Yeah.
It just made me think of his Gambit, that scene where
that was so
whole life for this.
Now I'm kind of seeing the Down syndrome.
Back to the main
Gambit.
I went off topic a little bit there. But like that's
what happens when you mention a half naked Jason Momoa. It happens.
It's true. if you go to the Minecraft movie, there was actually some really nice things that were teased in like the first 30 minutes, which made me think like, oh, this isn't going to be a terrible movie. Like you have this young boy, he's a loser. He's really smart though, but there's nobody around him that is really trying to help him foster his creativity. He just suddenly lost his mom as well.
Yeah.
And on top of that, his older sister now, who's like, she barely looks 18 herself. She has now been kind of thrust into this role of mother plus older sister plus caretaker plus guardian and whatever else. So there could have been like this really interesting balance of like, hey kids, like here's a story of like no matter what happens to you, don't forget your creativity, or it's always good to be creative, or you can overcome things if you have like if you just believe in yourself and you know you go where your heart wants you or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But instead it becomes an entire movie about two guys in their midlife having a midlife crisis.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Is like I was laughing at Jason Momoa. I know everyone was like, "Oh, he just screams the whole time," but it was funny. You know, I thought it was funny. But like Jack Black was just so out of place, especially for like the main character of Steve. Like you don't even look like him. First of all,
He's
like
round in a square world. That makes no sense.
Yeah, but like yeah, it was just like I don't. It's like I don't know. Maybe he's a big fan of Minecraft and like insisted that he be in this, or maybe he was involved with.
If he was, he would have shaved his beard.
Yeah, someone did tell me that he actually does the audiobooks for all of those Minecraft novels that are out.
Really?
And
yes,
then
he also has major connections to the game.
Yeah, and he's like several years ago he played Minecraft with like PewDiePie on stream for a fundraiser and all this stuff. So his ties to Minecraft are pretty deep, but he doesn't deliver. Like if you go and watch that PewDiePie stream, the energy is fucking there. It's hilarious and it's entertaining. And then you watch this and you're just like, he's phoning it in for the paycheck, clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, you mentioned the two men having a midlife crisis.
Mm-hmm.
From a psychological standpoint, that kind of tracks. If you think the narcissism, you know, it's
yeah,
kind of it just tracks into that. Yeah.
I was also tying this movie, and I wrote it in my criticless review.
Oh, that's why you got the shirt on today.
Yeah, you know. One thing I liked about this movie was how it sort of like was trying to grab the Nacho Libre and like Napoleon Dynamite vibes, like especially in the beginning. Like there was it's just this like quirky off kilter comedy, you know, like obviously they don't like totally capture it. Like those movies I think are
so they tried to emulate unfunny movies.
I don't think they're unfunny. I love those movies. Like
I like Nacho Libre. I don't
hilarious.
like Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, I think they're
like them both.
Yeah, they're brilliant. And I don't know. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna add like Nacho Libre. I thought it was trash when I first saw it. Then I rewatched it last year and was like, this actually isn't that bad.
My very two favorite parts of that movie are when he's singing at the party. I think is like by far the funniest. Yeah. No, not that part where he's like he goes in with like the mariachis and they're like, oh, it's your turn, and he's just like, I'm singing at the party. Anyways, and then when he climbs the cliff to get the eagle egg,
that was pretty funny. Yeah.
Every time,
but it's just like it's a believe in yourself and follow your dreams kind of message, right? Which like I was like, oh, like even as an adult, I can kind of get that because you get stuck in the adult ways and you kind of forget what it's like to be a dreamer.
Yeah,
so, I like
Fight Club. It tells you the same message.
Yeah, but I'm not a man, so the Fight Club isn't going to translate as well to me.
Brad Pitt takes his shirt off.
Yeah, aside from that, but that's not the message he's trying to sell me.
I learned most of my life lessons from Adam Sandler movies.
There you go.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
Well, who's gonna see Tron Ares? What did you guys think about that trailer?
Haven't watched it yet.
I haven't seen it either.
I just really hope they do a really poorly like Jeff Bridges again. I just think each time that they do a Tron thing, his face needs to look worse.
I think he's in it. I think Clue is gone now, but this one is supposed to be following the original like bad guy's son. So in the first Tron, the company that they were competing against, I think his son is the one that's like seems to be more front and center. Like for some reason they did away with Flynn's son and Cora and like that storyline where they escape they escape the grid at the
because
end.
he rode away with her on a USB stick on the bike.
Exactly. They're not doing that part, but like it's supposed to tie into everything else. I don't know. I thought the trailer looked really good. Everyone's mixed. No, obviously nobody likes Jared Leto.
I like Jared Leto.
I think he's
that's
good.
why you don't like Fight Club, because he gets his face bashed in that one.
No. Okay, listen. I like
just
Jared
for
Leto
something
for
beautiful.
different reasons. Okay, I think he's
he's
actually a very good actor.
Yeah, I think
he is. He's a really great supporting actor. He's had trouble with his like lead roles. But he's still, I think he's great at what he does.
Go watch Mr. Nobody. He does a great job carrying that film.
He is, yeah. He is good.
It was good in Dallas Buyers Club as well.
That too, yeah.
I mean, and what's the other?
I really bought that he was a tranny with AIDS. I really bought that.
Yeah, no, I think he's good. I just think in some, like, kind of like Nicolas Cage, like there's been some, I think he's just given the nod because he's like, hey, I need a paycheck. Like, let's do this. Let's have fun. But I think some of the big roles he's been in, like he's done a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, this doesn't look horrible. I've been waiting for the next Tron because I really like Tron Legacy, but I don't know.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, I watched it. Remember thinking back on it. It was pretty. It was alright.
Who's doing the soundtrack for Tron Ares?
Nine Inch Nails.
Oh,
Trent Reznor.
Yeah. Which
really, they didn't get 30 Seconds to Mars to do it.
Oh, see, that's good. That's really good that they didn't.
That's disappointing. I don't think 9 Inch Nails is going to do a good job in there.
Really? Why not?
The 2000 version of me is very excited for that.
9 Inch Nails hasn't put out any good music in recent years. A. B. Trent Reznor I can actually get on board with because him and Atticus Ross do really good scores together generally.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm assuming Atticus Ross isn't here, so.
No, it's
also it's really hard to top what Daft Punk did.
Yeah, that was
Legacy.
Good. Yeah,
like I've listened to that soundtrack like back to front at least 300 times. I've watched Tron Legacy twice.
It's a good one, and I actually am. I'll go back and watch these again. It's been probably 12 years since I've watched the first Tron, and maybe 5 or 6 since I've watched Tron Legacy. But I do want to revisit them because I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for the announcement that this was going to really be coming out, and now, well, it's October 10th is when it's dropping, so got some time still.
Are we going to watch the trailer?
Oh yeah, we can.
Also, Grant, to your comment, I don't think you can actually rate Jared Leto as a Joker because you didn't get enough of his Joker to make an adequate.
Fair.
Yeah, but he didn't get bummed in the shower, so
that too. Yes, very true.
You can get bummed.
Wait a minute, are you counting that as canon, or is that just like a?
Oh, it went right up his canon. Yeah.
Yep. Shit canon. Yep.
Well, yeah. Well, when you put it there. Yeah.
All right, let's take a look. Wait, can you hear it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just very quiet at the moment.
Acknowledging dispatch. Already in pursuit.
I'm looking for something.
They're supposed to have a grid to be able to do that. That doesn't make any sense.
Ooh, Gillian Anderson. I don't know why I didn't notice her before, but
I was literally just about to make a joke. I'm like, they're shooting this like it's a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
This is really like on the dark and gritty kind of line, right? I'm getting Nolan Batman vibes personally.
Yeah.
Gillian Anderson's starting to look a lot like Vera Farmingham.
Very old looking.
Yeah, that haircut's doing her no justice.
Yeah. So I assume this is all 9 Inch Nails that we're hearing here. Like, that, I'm just guessing. I don't know
Probably.
for sure. Yeah,
Probably.
Oh, Evan Peters.
What's that?
Evan Peters.
Is that?
That's Evan Peters.
Oh, well, he should be able to run fast enough to get past them then.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Ready? Because there's no going back.
I see.
I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. Yeah.
Why is it in the real world?
Yeah, I'm trying.
So-
That's yeah.
So apparently in this one, the people from the grid escape to the real world. Someone had basically tweeted about how this so this is Pixels, but like in the Tron universe.
But we've already seen what happens when someone escapes. That they stay in a digital form. We literally it was the last scene in the last movie. She came out and she was in the USB stick because she couldn't exist in the real world.
She was in the real world though.
No,
she was on the back of the motorcycle.
Yeah, that's right. They did the North American release.
Yeah,
the proper one. Yep, that's right. I forgot. That was one of those films that did that.
So here's an idea of what some of the screenwriters attached to this film is. One of them doesn't even have a page.
That's good.
Yeah, the other one though, his latest.
I've got to go. I'll be back later, guys.
All right, Grant.
All right.
later.
Hey, bud.
Later. Was Adolescence on Netflix.
Oh.
Yay.
Some other stuff he did. A couple.
Wait, so
episodes.
does that show suck? All of a sudden, everyone was saying that show's great.
I
sucks?
said that show sucked. I thought you were agree with me on that one.
I didn't watch it yet.
Oh, who did I have a conversation with on Criticalist then?
Not me.
Are you fucking with me right now?
It's your other online boyfriend, I guess. I don't know.
Wow.
Hold on. Okay, so he wrote the worst adaptation of The Secret Garden, Enola Holmes 2. What's this Joy movie? Hold on. Oh, some weird feminist doctor movie. So there's one of your screenwriters. Let's see what our producers are. Jared Leto's one of them. Let's see, Sean Bailey.
Sean Bailey. Why do I know that name?
So let's see. Push, Best Laid Plans, Matchstick Men, Gone Baby Gone.
Okay.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad. So he's got a lengthy career with Disney as well, doing live action adaptations.
Oh well.
Oh no. Like he's literally attached to every single live action adaptation.
Well, there you go. That answers
But
that.
in all fairness, some of these people are just working for the paycheck. They're not the studio execs. So I guess.
I mean, when you're
maybe.
a producer on all of these films, that says something a little different.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
All the time with you making excuses.
Listen,
I know you want to be hopeful. Maybe this will be the first out of the 45 things he's produced that's actually good. Who knows?
Right.
Who knows?
I need to see the good in people.
It's nothing wrong. It's really a good to have that outlook. It's really not bad. It's just hard not to expect, after time, example after example, time after time again, they just keep releasing trash. At some point, it's like, when do you just start expecting it? It's like, okay, it's going to be trash.
Well, I think that's part of like my thing is when it comes to like, I'll use the example of The Last of Us. Like I just tweeted, like a lot of this stuff, if you want to see it go away and die, like we don't need to cover every aspect of it. Like just ignore it, because if people don't engage with it, tweet about it all the time, it won't get the ratings. Probably people won't flock to see it, good or bad. People literally hate watch this shit and give it ratings. So it's like, right. And that contributes to what the studios think as positive, because whether it's for hating or for loving, people are tuning in.
Publicity is good publicity, kind of
deal.
Right.
So, and So I don't know. That's
the bizarro upside down world we live in.
Yeah.
We are, because our society has been programmed to hate watch, they're addicted to confrontation, to negativity.
I wouldn't say we're addicted to hate watching. I would say a small segment of the active viewer base is a hate watcher, right? Like,
Well, that's fair.
YouTubers are a great example of that because that's how they make their buck.
Yeah.
There are some things that like I go in knowing it will be bad, but I'm interested in, and I'll still make a video on it just because that's my interest speaking, not necessarily the paycheck speaking.
Yeah.
But like general audiences have woken up to it irregardless of who's hate watching stuff or not. The other thing too is like there's so much more content, but only a fraction of it really gets any mainstream appeal. And all of the stuff that gets mainstream appeal fucking sucks. So it kind of seems like the entire market is oversaturated with stuff that sucks. I thought last year was a great year for movies. I saw more movies that I loved than hated, to be honest.
That's good.
So I don't know.
It's just the cult of personality. They, these big YouTubers, they take a stance, everything's bad. Oh, look at how dumb this is, blah, blah, and just people eat it up. So it's hard not to overgeneralize.
Well,
no, I totally agree. Yeah, totally agree.
But that's the thing is like if you follow their logic, they like a lot of people would have you believe that 2024 was awful for movies. We've Hollywood's lost the plot, which maybe in some regards they have, but like there's actually a lot to like that people could enjoy that if you stepped back from a lot of this stuff. And I've said it recently about video games, like streamers are actively ruining, I think, or have ruined gaming because it's all about meta. It's all about being the first to play. And same thing with like movies. You have to see this movie right away and fast, and you have to comment on it on your TikTok. Like, no, what you have to do is just go in there and enjoy it, or go in there with a clear mind. Because I think most people, that's what we were doing back in the day, and we would talk in our friend groups about it. We'd go and watch it, and we didn't have to worry about like judgments from strangers, and putting together a YouTube video about how awful Disney is for the 800th time.
Different times, and there were different things that were getting our endorphins flowing as well.
Yeah.
I think also a lot of the stuff with YouTube and the way we do some reviews and different channels do different things. Like at some point, like I never would have considered myself any kind of critic. I would just go watch a movie. I either liked it or I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
To be on YouTube and talk about movies, though, you kind of start getting more of that critical eye for, well, this was completely wrong. That was completely wrong. They got this right. That was okay. Overall, I'm going to give it a rating now. And I never would have been really doing that before. I mean, yes, if there were major holes in a movie, like even going back to the first of the Star Wars sequels, everybody's going nuts over it in my friend group in real life. And I'm like, it was A New Hope all over again. How do you guys not see this?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's also part of the negativity is driven by you start to pick out things in movies that you probably wouldn't have if you were just a moviegoer.
Yeah.
Even with the things we like 1923, we've been covering it on Monday nights on Comics Division. We all love the show.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about it kind of like nerds talk about, things. We start nitpicking everything we didn't like about it. And the chat is all like, it sounds like you hated it. It's like, no, now we're just, really just nitpicking. It's not that we didn't like the show. We're going to point out what we liked and what we didn't like. And the negative always stands out more than the positive.
Well, that's the funny thing is like, we've gotten to a point where we can't praise and critique something at the same time. And that's a problem because
it's either all good or all bad.
Right. Like even the Minecraft movie, I could totally rip that movie apart if I wanted to, but there's like a huge part of me that just wants to enjoy the thing, like I just want to like laugh and smile. And I don't necessarily want to just like, oh, this was wrong and this is wrong. Oh, did you see the continuity? I'm like, no, I don't care because
when you take yourself out of the criticism whether it be constructive or negative, when you take yourself out of that lens, from viewing it that way, you see it for what it is. It's just a throwaway film, something they threw together because they were, whether it's for fun or for a quick buck or whatever, they threw it together. You see it for what it is. And if you found some of it funny, you did. And if you found most of it not funny, you did. You just kind of take it as it is, instead of it being, super critic and you have to be, nitpicking to the maximum and just tearing. That's the kind of the difference between constructive criticism and just tearing everything apart. And that's where most people are like geared towards these days. They got to tear. They got to tear into it. They got to rip
the
it to
algorithm
shreds.
feeds.
Yep.
Vex has to get out of here.
Yeah, Vex has to go cuddle with her kitty. So
yeah. Sorry,
thanks
it's
for joining.
bedtime for us, and it's just he has a specific routine. Like I'm supposed to have a specific routine. So
thank you.
Nice meeting you, Vex.
Oh, it was a pleasure, King Deplorable. I bow to you, sir. Fellas, Shags, Brahma, always a pleasure. Thank you for having me on. Yeah. Don't coerce me into streams again, Shags.
I'm sorry. I had to bother you. I love you. I think you're awesome. I respect your opinions on everything. So
I love you too, dude. I love you too, dude. I'll see you in Vegas next week.
Looking forward to it. Can't wait.
There you go. All right. Take it easy, guys.
All right. See you
later.
Yes. I think I just think that the rule, like when people are the majority of people, when they're going to a movie, like even like something like Interstellar, like a Nolan film that you need to have like an eye for, right? Like you need to pay attention to what's going on. Most people are going in there and they're not necessarily like looking at every single like transition or mistake. They're just trying to follow the story. And maybe Nolan's a bad example because some of his movies are a little hard to follow at times, but like, yeah, but they're still somewhat grounded. Like Tenet kind of breaks the mold on that, but Interstellar is like pretty straightforward enough. The Dark Knight series, Memento, like, I don't know, like, but even those, like the normies are just there to like watch. They're not there to break it down. And I think that's what I try and do when I can, is like, okay, I can look at this with a critical eye, but at the same time, I want to try and step back and watch a movie the way my wife does. Like I just want to turn my brain off and like maybe enjoy like myself for a bit.
See, if I did that, I'd fall asleep into the movie.
I wish I could do
minutes
that.
into the movie. Because that's how my wife watches movies. Let's watch this.
I overanalyze everything. Well, you saw how I was when we watched Butterfly Effect.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I overanalyze everything. So it's hard for me to just sit back and watch a movie and turn my brain off.
Yeah.
It's difficult for me.
Well, like even like a movie like Butterfly Effect is interesting because like you could sit there and be like, oh, there's so many plot holes in this. Like, how does this work? Like, just going back in time. Like, is that even possible? But then, like for me, it's like that's not necessarily the point. The point is the deeper message of like, you can't. There's nothing you can do to really change anything. You live the life you're given, I have to watch it again now, but there is a message there that's not necessarily so deep. But
I don't know if it is what I was just talking about, YouTube type reviewing, or if it's that Hollywood is not that great at giving us something that helps us to suspend disbelief anymore. I feel like so many things take me out of entertainment now, whether it's throwing in the politics or, as we've hit on, the DEI type stuff or woke stuff. It pops. It ruins things for me.
Yeah.
And it's
Lord of the Rings.
Getting there before I started YouTube 3 years ago.
I'm not super,
I was already noticing
I'm not super into the Lord of the Rings, but what I have seen of the films, every time, if I even see it on TV or if I see a video, every single time you get pulled into it, the immersion. Like you can't help it. You just don't get that with the films nowadays. Like maybe one off, but
well, some do. Like, I mean, there's some good like hidden gem shows out there that really like hidden gems. Like there's like I've talked about The Pit. The Pit's a little different. There is moments of like wokeness or like getting talked at, but like everyone's talking about The White Lotus right now. My wife is like obsessed with that show. Even Reacher to an extent is, you know, is one of these shows. Like there are good ones out there that take you into a different world and aren't necessarily talking about modern things.
Sure.
But yeah, there's
but just a lot of them don't anymore. Or it could be me and the way I view things now. I couldn't honestly tell you.
I actually just saw the other thing I saved. I can't really play the trailer because it's a bit inappropriate. But the new Love, Death, Robots season 4 trailer just dropped. And even that, there's like moments in that trailer where I'm like, I don't want to focus on there maybe being like DEI woke stuff or whatever, but you know, this looks like another thing that may have gotten like kind of overtaken a little bit, and we might have some like preachy moments in these sci-fi vignettes. I mean, I like those because I've liked them because they never had like any agenda really. They were masterfully done from an animation point of view.
Short stories.
Yeah.
Animated short stories.
Yeah. But you know, the trailer, I recommend everyone go take a look at it. It's all over Twitter. It's on YouTube. I just can't show it because I could get in trouble.
Your perspective, Shags, has really grown on me. And I see exactly what, like, the DEI, it's all the woke stuff. It's there. It is there. But we're so focused, like, it really has poisoned the well. Like, because now it's hard to ignore, it's hard to miss, and it's so politically attached. It's like more politics, more. So I see the need, like you, I'm sure a lot of other people feel this way, like wanting to just watch something for what it is and detach without having to worry about how many black people are in a scene, and if there's got to be at least one or two Asians, and it's right. Or we're pushing the message, like, you know, in this, you just want to detach and watch it.
Well, some of it works, you know, like, I mean, we've seen diverse casts in the past that were like, no one ever talked about. Like I saw someone post about the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers cast and like how, you know,
we're so sorry that we made the Yellow Ranger Asian and the Black Ranger black.
Right. Oh, Shags froze up. But yeah, we're all of a certain age that we grew up really not having to worry about any of that crap.
I remember now, I mean, maybe I'm a little biased, I'm half black. But sure. Black Ranger being black, that was cool. The Asian Ranger, you know, the Asian Ranger, the Yellow Ranger being Asian, that was
the Oriental
cool.
Ranger?
Yeah, the Oriental Ranger. That was cool. Like there was it went a little. The association went a little deeper. It wasn't just it's a race thing. The Black Ranger's black. No, it was cool in the 90s, and at least for me growing up, it was cool.
I don't know that I even noticed it.
Yeah, I mean, and probably most didn't. I like in my school growing up, the kids watching it, like, you know, you go to school, talk about the episode you watched the day before, and it's just like that was at that point the association. It was like, okay, we can be Power Rangers too. And then, you know, you look back on it, it's so silly and juvenile, but that's the kind of stuff that we're missing.
You mean when we had imaginations?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're missing. Now everything is AI generated, and, you know, it has to, you know, go through Sweet Baby Ink and, you know, make sure all the check boxes are checked and all that other stuff.
And make sure you slip in a few of the rules for radicals.
That's right. That's right.
Got to get that in there in every piece of entertainment. But I mean, for me, I rarely actually watch TV anymore. But when I do watch TV, I can't even enjoy that anymore because every commercial on TV is either absolutely stupid or is so chock full of DEI that it's just like, why everything?
Yeah, same. Most of my experience with content is basically streaming, and at the rare times that because I use ad blockers on everything, but every once in a while, some will get through. Like on my iPhone, like it can't help that. But every once in a while, like even the commercials on YouTube are unbearable.
Yeah, I've got premium, so I haven't seen a commercial on YouTube in years. But
well, that's good. But
real advertisements on, commercials on television, on actual television, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
I think the last commercial I saw was it was a pharmaceutical commercial about I don't know if it was a diabetic medication. It was
herpes or AIDS,
or so, it was something like that, and it was one of those where the typical fat girl dancing around. It's like a musical, and it was one of those.
Yeah,
but
I got my life back from herpes.
Yeah, it's like, why are y'all like this? Why are y'all doing this? So nobody cares to see this, or maybe people do. I don't know, but
it really is amazing how many STD commercials are on TV now.
It's sad.
And if you haven't watched in a few years, it's crazy. It's not just pharmaceuticals; it's pharmaceuticals specifically for AIDS or herpes. I mean, those kinds of things. And it's like, whatever happened to having like age appropriate type stuff on at certain hours of the day?
Yeah, that was one of the best things about being a kid. Like when TV would go off air, like 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. There was no more TV. It was just the color bars.
Yep.
Are you that old? Holy shit.
Yeah. It was fun. I mean, you got your cartoons
over the air
on Saturday.
TV. I mean, not cable, but over the air TV would have the end of the day.
And you wake up at like 3:30 a.m., maybe 4:30, and there was a couple memories. Little aside here, Dad sitting in his robe and his recliner, watching the women do the exercise. The exercise channel would come on early.
Aerobics.
That's what it is. And then they do the stair steppers or whatever. I mean, that's just that. As a kid,
Jane Fonda's aerobics videos that all of our mothers had.
Yeah, it's like, man, those were the days. Like the nostalgia factor on the floor model TV.
Yeah,
it's great.
Hey, Raiken.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, man?
In pain.
Did you take a nasty spill tonight?
I may have partially dislocated my knee.
Oh,
that would put one in pain.
Yeah.
I'm actually wondering if I did the same thing to my shoulder. Like, I don't know how I would have done it, but like I'm having trouble like lifting it in certain directions, and I'm like, it feels like it's getting stuck at certain points, and it's pretty painful, and it's not fun to sleep on.
You may just have a partial tear in your rotator cuff.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Well, I don't need that.
Like if you can't lift up past like this, typically that's rotator cuff type stuff.
God damn.
You didn't like pull a muscle or anything?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was carrying my son around, we're walking around Vegas and stuff. And then all of a sudden the day after it was like just kind of twinging in pain. And then I couldn't sleep on it for 2 nights. And all of a sudden it was fine again for 3 days. And then I stretched today while I was eating lunch, and it felt like opening a wound again. I was just like, whoa, what the hell was that? Like it did not feel good.
Yeah. It could be rotator tear.
I feel like if it was rotator, you would have felt it pop. I know like with my shoulder, like I've had shoulder issues, but that's because like I actually pulled a muscle in my back. And so instead of using my back muscles, I was using all my shoulder to like lift stuff. And so I'd like develop shoulder pain from that. And it would just be like sharp pain. And I would have moments where like when I would lift my arm, like I could only lift it to like just up to here.
Yeah. Okay.
Could also be like I've had a torn labrum in this shoulder for almost 20 years.
Yep. I tore this one.
Same thing. If I sleep on it wrong, it'll do the same thing where I can't lift my arm the next day.
Well, I tore this one, got it repaired, and now this one is actually torn. But I don't know if I'm going to fix it because it's not like I don't need to necessarily, but now all of a sudden, like there's like pain up here. So I'm just getting old, guys. I'm an old fuck.
Yeah. I figure there's no reason to get it repaired if insurance is going to make me jump through a 10,000 hoops to do it. Because they diagnosed it as completely torn, gave me the cortisol shot or cortisone shot. And then they said, yes, it absolutely needs surgery. It's a tear. They don't repair themselves. It's torn in half. And insurance said, well, you got to do physical therapy for at least 6 months before we can do a surgery. It's like, so the doctors say it's a tear that can only be repaired surgically. And you're telling me I should go do physical therapy for 6 months and take time out of my day 3 times a week to go do that, when that will absolutely not be able to repair a tear.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we're saying. Okay, screw you guys. I'll just live with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up getting it fixed just because my kids are young and I do want to play like ball with them and stuff like that. And like there's with the torn labrum, there's higher risk of dislocation. Like I said, my kids
can manually dislocate my shoulder.
Yeah, so I don't want to do that. But Grant's back.
It just pops straight in and out.
Hi, Grant. Ugh.
I'm back.
Yeah. What pops in and out? Me? All right.
Yeah.
I was telling Brahma before the show, but I tried doing a little debate before, and I was live on Twitch and on X about what was it?
I saw that and I was like, you glutton for punishment.
Abortion.
I know, man. Oh yeah, it was I think
it
was
all the way up to 9 months.
Yeah, it was like abortion all 9 months or something like that. And I was like, okay, can you define this for me? And they did their usual shit, and I was just like, okay. But it came down. It devolved to this guy popped in and was trying to equate sperm to like embryos, and I was just like, let me stop you right there. I'm actually gonna go. I can't. If you guys are gonna, if this is the argument you're going with, like I can't engage with you people. Like this is bad.
No sense of biology at all.
Like there's so many times that a man retaining his sperm has suddenly become pregnant within his own body.
I was like, do you have any idea how this works? Like, I think you should sit down because you don't know what you're talking about. He goes, oh no, you should sit down. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna go. Like this is.
Were you already sitting down?
Oh yes, I was sitting right here.
We should have just said, I'm already sitting down.
I just I guess I don't understand how people are like that far gone. Like even in I'm still I consider myself pro-choice, but like I can steel man the pro-life argument. Like I can still steel man it, and I understand it, but like for the life of me, I don't know how you could like say, oh, but what about your mass genocide every time you jack off? It's like, what? Like
it's called willful ignorance.
Yeah.
Well, if someone was to say that, it was like, yes, I feel like Stalin when I come.
Well, like if you're gonna go with that argument, it's like, okay, if jerking off every time is like you're genociding your kids, it's like, okay, so then every period that a woman has, are they genociding their kids? It's like you're just going down a road that's like, so are you going to control, like, force women to have a baby before every egg that they have in their body?
Well, you could, and by that logic, you could almost flip it the other way and be like, well, if we're going to consider all of my sperm in the same way that we consider baby, then I do get a say in abortion because I also have, these if that's the logic.
They're not following the logic to its conclusion. They just don't have any forethought.
Well, they're the same people who will cheer somebody going to prison for destroying a bald eagle egg because it's an endangered species. Even though it's just a bald eagle egg, that's not destroying an embryo in that case. That's destroying a bald eagle. But the same can't be said for a baby in vitro.
Well, you've got You got to understand one thing, Brahma. Like bacteria on Mars is considered life.
Yeah.
Right. Single cell
something
organism. If you found it in space, it would be life.
Yeah. But something growing in someone isn't.
That's more than one cell.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like within hours is way more than one cell.
People, it's just it's awful. We are also talking about if someone is on life support and like how that's the same as embryos growing and all that. Like, well, if it, can you just end someone's life if they're in a coma? I'm like, no. Like, I mean, if there's a possibility that they can come out of that coma, then no, you don't just get to end someone's life. I was like, but brain death is different. If you're brain dead, if you are considered brain dead, then off of life support, then you
can't
function naturally.
Yeah, you can succumb to your natural disposition. It's like, okay, that's
right. It's just, I don't know, man.
Situation.
I know I'm a glutton for punishment, and do
got to justify it. They have to justify immoral lifestyles to just varying degrees. I mean, I'm not trying to make it a religious or moral argument, but they just do it to varying degrees. Everybody has it's narcissists, a bunch of narcissists pretending to care is what it is.
Yeah.
They have to be able to justify the murder of a child in their own mind.
Right. Yeah.
And they have to have you play along with it.
Yeah. Except that I like to go around and have all the wild sex and spread all the STDs and do whatever with no consequences attached because I'm a heathen and I can't help myself. So that's what they think.
Well, and that's the funny thing is like I try and like level with them in that, like, I mean, it requires a little bit of like philosophical, like discussion, right? Like this isn't going to be solved in like legislation, like maybe partially, but like, this is a more philosophical question of like, can we drill down to like the real like meaning and value of life? Because they're saying like, well, it's not the point of us to like just procreate. And I'm like, well, like, again, it's not black and white. Like there is like, it is kind of the point is to pass on your legacy to your offspring. Like not everyone does it, but a vast majority of us, like that's how we find meaning is that we have our core values and we want to give that to our kids to make the world a better place. I think I would say everyone here like wants to do that, if not already doing it. Or like in some way, shape, or form.
Some people naturally, and of course, won't be able to.
Right.
And there's a little bit of a difference between that and just actively deciding to cut off. Like, I saw someone, there was a sterilization argument I saw on Twitter the other day. It's people purposely cutting off their ability to have children. And it's like,
oh my God.
Because of climate change or because of Trump being president or because of Roe versus Wade.
One of the wildest excuses.
Yeah, but I mean, are those the people that you want breeding anyway?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't have an issue with it. Like, I mean,
optimistic. If I'm going to be optimistic, I have to account for the possibility that, much like myself, because I was a dumbass when I was young. I didn't stay a dumbass forever. I mean, I'm still a little bit dumb, but not as dumb as I used to be. And
you were setting yourself up for so much there.
But yeah, it's just like, I come out of it. I grew up. I matured a little bit. I have to account that other people might fall into that position. So I can't just say, well, dude, oh yeah, sure. If you want to cut off your nuts or, whatever, if you want to cut yourself off from the potential of having, children, I can't just, just like, well, go ahead. Cause we don't want you reproducing anyway. Cause you're dumb. Ha. Like, I mean, that to me, that's just not enough of a justification, just because, they're stupid to say, well, go ahead.
Have you seen Idiocracy? I think getting rid of the stupid people is probably a good idea.
No,
But
we
if
should
we got rid of
keep
all the
having Kid
stupid
Rock in
people,
the
we'd all be
Oval
dead.
Office.
You know.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you, King.
We could get back to self-responsibility to some degree in the Western world.
Even that
just don't want to take responsibility for anything.
Right. And even that discussion, like, I kept thinking, like, what is wrong with having this discussion? Why is this so easily dismissed? Like, as like, oh, that's not the answer. Like, now you're blaming women. It's like, no, not really. Like, it's equally a problem here. Like men shouldn't be taking advantage of women. Like, there's a core problem there. And then, but at the same time, you shouldn't be so loose with your body. Like, everyone should have some sort of responsibility here that, like,
yeah, but like this is the part where I'll have to disagree with you. I think if someone wants to treat the body a certain way, where they can, the government shouldn't have any right to tell you what you can and can't do with your body.
I'm not saying the government. I'm saying society.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying this is a philosophical
Society
thing.
needs to start shaming people back into having self-responsibility and behaving in different ways. There's nothing wrong with shame. Right? Everybody now treats shame like, well, you can't kink shame me. You can't shame me for, getting pregnant at 14. Yeah,
I didn't realize
that's what society should be doing. But we've gotten rid of shame in our society.
Yeah, and I think so. Yeah, and Grant, I would never. I'm not looking to add something to the government's list of things they can do to us. Like, that's why I think this philosophical discussion of, like, we need to, in moral discussion of what it means to, like, take care of one's, like, body and mind and soul is something that's going to take time to reverse. But, like, no one wants to have that discussion or even offer it as, like, a solution, because, like, well, that's not going to change things right now. It's like, well, no, nothing changes overnight. You're not going to, you can't just throw a pebble into the river and hope to divert it. Like, you need something, you need a lot over a long time. And that's what people are capable of doing that. But it's a slow moving process. And most importantly, you're not going to get everyone to follow that. You're going to have people who think they know better. They're going to have bad actors, bad people in general. But I think the vast majority of people, like, I do think in some ways there's a lot of overlap between pro-life and pro-choice in some regards. Like, I think a lot of people believe that, those first, 12 weeks or so are, a bit of a gray area for them, and they're okay with that. I'm one of those people who thinks, like, that first little bit, I'm okay with it. I would rather people didn't, but who am I to say?
I don't know that there is a whole lot of overlap. Most pro-life will say life begins at conception, because there's not a place where the pro-choice argument can say that there's something different than that.
Yeah, I guess what I mean is, I guess there's a lot of overlap with conservatives and liberals. Like, I think there's way more overlap in what people like in things that people believe than we give each other credit for. I think most people are on the same page with a lot of stuff. I think you're right. I think pro-life, pro-choice, those are probably, you're right there.
Those are irreconcilable. But yes,
right.
The normal man on the street Democrat and man on the street Republican probably agree with 90% of everything.
Right. But the powers that be
take hard stances on certain things, and then the politicians, the political class, is the ones who are, never getting anything done for either side, but also causing as much division as they can so that they can stay in office or in power.
Yep. Yeah.
But then again, things have changed a little bit in that world too, because there's so many normal, or what would have been normal Democrats that I was friends with, 10, 12 years ago, that TDS has made it completely impossible to have a conversation with them at all now about any topic.
Yeah.
If anything pertains to anything that Trump might do, has done, or didn't do, but they accuse him of.
They completely break.
TDS is a completely different animal than the normal politics that we had on the street 10 to 15 years ago.
Which it's crazy too, because now that you have, so at the end of his term, you can't run again. You're looking at at least another 7 years before I think we're back to like middle of the road politics with people, because
I think it's going to be way longer than that, dude.
Well, I mean, okay, I guess the reason I think it's going to be that is because I think maybe, you could be right. It depends on who's elected next, because I think we're going to have a Democrat elected next, and then you're going to have all the Republicans rail against him again. And then the next person who gets elected is going to be way more is going to be less, what's the word I'm looking for? Inflammatory than Trump.
I mean, it really depends on when the next time I think it'll happen when you get a president that actually sits 2 consecutive terms. Then after that, I think you can start with that. Because at the moment, with everyone, whoever's in is hated, and whoever's not in is seen as the person that's going to save them from it. Until that changes, then there's going to be no middle of the road. Because one is always going to be a bad guy, whoever's in power, and the good guys are the ones who aren't in power. That's the way that it always was.
Yes, to a degree, but the thing now is the Democrats, and this is just going to sound very partisan, but the Democrats just keep trying to put people in there who are socialist progressives, and that is fundamentally at odds with our republic.
Mm-hmm.
So from the right's perspective, yeah,
but they don't want a republic.
Everything's going to be an issue until I know, but that's why there will be no calming down of this situation, because they want to go to progressive socialism, and the right absolutely does not want to go anywhere near that. We're pretty happy being a constitutional republic and not being every other socialist country in the world.
Well, our leaders, okay, on the right, maybe not so much. Lay people, yeah, you're absolutely on the money. But our leaders, no, they are pretty much in bed with the rest of them. It's kind of pathetic and disgusting. But anyway.
But that's where the weird part comes in with current politics. Because if anybody on the left actually opened their eyes, just regular man on the street Democrats, and I think a lot of them did in this last election, but if they just opened their eyes, Trump is as close to the middle moderate as you get.
Oh, yeah.
He is in no way a right-wing conservative in any way. And if the left would run somebody who is a moderate centrist instead of a progressive leftist, they'd probably have more success.
Well, they did. His name was Obama.
Obama was a socialist through and through.
He wasn't a progressive, though.
He was a progressive.
In what policies was he progressive?
Gay marriage?
He was against it.
He was against it, and then he flipped.
And then he flipped because of Biden, but he went
with
it. He was
pretty tough on immigration, too.
He was tougher than he was tougher at the beginning. He was very tough.
A lot of them were at the time.
I don't think he's progressive in the way that we know progressivism now.
Correct. But he was also one of the most racially divisive presidents we've had in 50 years.
Yeah, I'm actually, since we're on this topic, and you dragged us into this, Brahma. No, I'm just kidding.
Me?
No, I'm just kidding. I said,
you brought up your TikTok talk about abortion.
So this is the problem I have with like the Trump stuff, and like, so there's a lot of people that I would watch on TikTok who were fairly like middle of the road on a lot of stuff, and then Trump got elected again, and they've sort of taken a more hardline stance on how Trump is bad. They started talking a lot about his tariffs and how it's like going to destroy our economy. I guess if you seem to know anything about it, you seem like you wanted to explain that. Like I don't know anything about what's going on with it, and frankly, I'm happier not really like paying attention to it all the time.
I don't believe you.
But like, I
secretly want it.
I want to understand one, why can't we just like know what's actually going on? Like, is there any sort of game plan with it? Is he just using it as like a, you know, like a
well, considering that most of the nations of the world now, no promises have been made, but are willing to, and at least just going by what he said, have come to the talking table. They're willing to negotiate, all except for China. I think, like in my mind, you know, I was having some dialogue with someone earlier today, that they think he just pussied out, but really, I don't know. It was never his goal to crush the world economy with tariffs.
Reset the world economy.
Yeah,
but tariffs won't affect the world's economy, though.
But my point is that it doesn't even matter what his goal was, because his goal or what other people think his goal is. His goal was to have them come play ball on a fair playing field.
This is no different than any other art of the deal thing that he's done. You start this far over, get people to come to the table, and you get to here. All Trump is really asking for is free trade.
He had it with Australia. That's the thing. We have a free trade agreement. We had that with America. It was one of the only few things that we've had with America for years, and now he's gone and he screwed all that up. Like,
has he screwed it up?
Yeah.
I would have to take your word for it. I had no idea.
Yeah, like the fact of the matter is, we were heading in one direction with our policies and everything, but because of everything that was going on with this, our shitty Labor, our progressive things, are now looking like the strong ones because they're standing up for Australia being against these tariffs, and everything that's going on with it. Our aluminium, we had an exclusive deal with our aluminium and the beef, but Trump got upset because we won't take in American beef, because of the quality of it in comparison to Australian beef, and that's what he wants to change things with that. It's just like, but we don't. Why would we want your product if we've already got ours? You're trying to build up America, so you can start bringing, you can start exporting to other countries, so you can start bringing factories and everything back. That's what we're doing, and he's upset with us over it. So he wants to renegotiate the best deal that any country's ever given America for more shit. And it's not going to work.
But that's also his job. His job is to represent America, not the world.
Yeah.
If he sees there's bad deals for America, his job as president is to represent Americans and get better deals.
They've gotten everything that they've asked for, and now he's gone, no, we have to get more.
Even if it's not a bad deal in your perspective, his job, the number one job, his priority, is to get the best deal for America.
You don't do that to one of your biggest trading allies. Plain and simple.
I mean, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but it really gets hard, because I see what you're saying. Like, it gets hard to when Trump is just looking out for the U.S. He's got a specific way of doing it. Very I wouldn't necessarily say all the time volatile, but he can be quite abrasive in his approaches, the art of the deal kind of stuff. Not everything that he does is 4D chess. I know people like to cope on Twitter and they think it's cool and, oh, he's playing the no, not everything he does is 4D chess, but some of the things he does makes, yeah, that's right, quarterback. It gets, you know what, that sums it up pretty much. I just stop right there. It gets hard.
It gets hard. That's global economics and national economics. I mean, if we are being charged tariffs by, there was 70 something countries that have already come to the table that were all upset that tariffs were being put on them when tariffs had been placed on us by those countries for the last 50 years. Resetting that is in the American interest.
And that's why I say it was dumb for him to do it to Australia, because we don't have that. America has no tariffs whatsoever. But he brought up the thing about not us not importing the beef from America in the 70s.
And And also,
but that is a trade deficit that he sees.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing that he's doing with the EU. Is like he's more so worried about like, hey, you guys aren't buying our cars. We're buying all your cars, and you're not buying ours. So we need to.
Our cars suck.
Or the example that I've given with India.
Yep.
I mean, India has tariffs on American cars so high that only like the top 1% of India could buy any American car because they tariff it to where a car that's 30,000 here is 140,000 there. So there is no market in India, a place with 1 billion people, where the American auto industry cannot sell a vehicle. Most of the world is that way, at least with the auto industry. Yet everybody sells their cars here.
I thought one of the big things with the US and its like economy was was moving towards deregulation. I haven't seen any movement with that. Like, is that does that play into any of this? Because
EPA has been making moves. They're starting to make moves. Lee Zeldin was on with Megyn Kelly today, breaking down some of the stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, I would assume they're going to have to go through a bunch of deregulations as they build up all these new factories and businesses and stuff, because they're not going to be able to build these things as rapidly as they want if they have all the regulations, loopholes or loops that they have to get through just to get a permit to build something.
I put in private chat a pretty well thought out video of a guy kind of explaining how tariffs can be used as a tool and what Trump's economic advisor, basically what the plan for the 4 years is. You make cuts, you apply some tariffs, or you equal the free trade market.
Will you host
that? Brings in some money. What's that?
Will you like share that and then I'll put it up?
Sure.
He's on his toaster internet at the minute.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. It's about a 4-minute video, but everybody that I've shared it with is like, oh, well, I'm starting to understand how tariffs works, because he actually uses some visual aids for it. Make sure we got volume.
Here's how Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent plans to save the US economy, explained in under 2 minutes. This is your tax revenues of the United States of America. It's about 17% of GDP. The biggest spending in the United States goes to welfare. This is closely followed by Medicaid. And then after that, we've got defense, we've got interest payments on debt. As you can see, there is a big shortage of revenues compared with your costs. And that is especially because the interest on the debt is getting bigger all the time. When you spend more than your revenues, that is called a budget deficit. He said, here's my 4 plans to fix the budget deficit and this unsustainable debt path that we're on. Number 1, we have to grow the economy. Now, you don't grow an economy by increasing taxes. No, we've got to cut taxes. One of these disappears straight away. The only way to increase your revenues when you're cutting taxes is to get the economy bigger, because this is a percentage of GDP. So bigger GDP equals a higher real number. Secondly, we've got to cut interest rates. That makes the debt interest payment in the future more sustainable. Then co-president Musk comes into play. You've got to cut the spending, right? You've got to sack all those consultants. You've got to start laying off public sector workers, but that's all right because you're growing the economy. Therefore, there's more private sector jobs to take up the...
So this is one of the problems that I think everyone's having, is that you have a consultant who's laying off a bunch of consultants. Not only that, but like people don't understand like stuff like this. Like they don't understand like what it is that we're actually trying to do. It's one of the fundamental flaws with our like political and news system, is that it's a political mudslinging factory is what all this has become. It's not about what's actually happening. It's about how can I destroy the person on the other side of the aisle so we look better. We come out cleaner on the whole thing.
Trump would probably be very well suited and probably smart to go out and call an actual press conference where he explains what his financial or his economic plan is.
No, he should not explain anything. He should give it to, he's been
explaining it for 30 years.
Yeah, well, but now he needs to have someone who, and I'm just going to say this, like he needs someone who's like competent and can just say it without going off script, and that normal people on the other side of the aisle, not his base, everyone, I mean, the MAGA like movement is a cult through and through, just like fucking progressives.
You don't understand, Shags, the entertainment value of him explain. If he somebody needs to show him this video and like let him see it, because I suspect by the end of this video I'm going to be an expert and I can go on X and like talk about it. But no, it's not going to work. But people don't want to hear from the experts. They want to hear from Trump. They want to hear from
the boss,
the
guy
boss.
the buck stops with.
I don't know who you're. I don't. The people that you need
I don't
to
think
convince,
people
though,
will listen to Trump on the other side either way. So yes, I agree. Maybe a different spokesperson is probably the best way to reach anybody else, but I don't think that he gets fair coverage from the other side either, whether he has a spokesperson do it or him.
Right.
Yeah, I just think. Yeah,
I don't know what the solution is there. That's why I'm saying, like, a national address to the country from the Oval Office is about the only way you get the message through without a whole bunch of talking heads interpreting it for you.
Yeah.
Right. Because and again, only the people who need to be listening are going to listen. And everybody else is just going to squawk. That's it.
Yeah. And no, Weasel, I don't really care for him referring to him as co-president Musk in this either.
Yeah, it's bullshit. Anyway.
Yeah. I think it was supposed to be a funny joke.
Slack. So unemployment rate doesn't go up. Unemployment not going higher means that interest rates can go down. Next, you slap a load of tariffs on foreign countries that aren't paying their fair share, and therefore you start to build this revenue side. Now remember, the two don't have to equal each other. Traditionally, tax revenues are about 18% of GDP, and spending in most Western economies is around about 22%. Why can governments spend 4% more as a percentage of GDP than they take in tax and revenues? Well, it's down to GDP growth and inflation. This is where inflation is a government's friend. It might not help you with the cost of your groceries, but it does mean over time, if you manage to grow your economy by 2% a year through productivity gains, or...
And let's just address that real quick. So he's talking about like the normal inflation that you want to have, right at about 2%.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really affect the groceries. But because of where we are with inflation over the past 4 years, ultimately what the goal is to drive the GDP up, which means everybody's making more money. So if you're paying an extra $1,500 for groceries, but overall you're making an extra $8,300, $10,000 a year, you don't feel the pain the same way, because groceries don't just magically go back down. Deflation has to happen for that. So
right.
Or through demographics, then stick 2% inflation on top of that, meaning you get real GDP growth of 2% and you get nominal GDP growth of 4%. That is the difference between your tax revenues of 18 and your spending of 22. Now, the next thing you do to help the economy grow is deregulate the banks. If banks are lending more, companies can borrow, they can hire more staff, and they can expand their profits. So there is some additional tax revenue from that corporation tax. Therefore, as you manage to grow the economy and get that GDP growth, as you cut interest payments, you cut a little bit out of defense, and you get rid of a lot of consultants, and you start to charge some of your friends some tariffs, slowly you build the economy, you get economic growth going up again, and you've got your balanced budget. This is how Scott Bessent plans to save the US economy.
So just a quick video with basic explanation of it. But
I don't trust that guy. He said under 2 minutes. That was 4 minutes.
Right.
I've got to trust him with numbers.
Well, then why do all the other countries have tariffs? If it hurts your country, why do all the other countries have tariffs? The companies are going to absorb the tariffs. The only one that's the reason that they're all willing to come to the table immediately, except for China, because China has to have us. They can't survive without us. We are the largest economy in the world. We buy more stuff than any other country. We're consumers at heart. So China cannot survive without us doing that, without us being the main importer of their goods. They will take the hit. And part of the reason you're seeing some of the tariffs slapped on countries that you wouldn't think it should get slapped on is because of countries like China. I mean, that's why Vietnam got hit with it. That's why Taiwan got hit with it, because China would get all the parts together in China and send them for final production to a country that had lower tariffs than China did, dodging the tariffs.
I think this was kind of like how I saw maybe 4 or 5 days ago, people thinking they were, it's a gotcha moment. Look how dumb Trump is. He's putting tariffs on places that there's hardly any population. Yeah, it's because
the two islands out in the middle of nowhere that have no population, but they have fisheries that were dodging tariffs.
Yep.
By specific countries that were being tariffed. So, yeah, you don't give China and a number of other countries wiggle room out of it to go just have the final product be in another country. You slap the tariffs across the board. I mean, that's the ultimate game plan there. It's going to cripple China, especially if they decide that they're going to go into a tariff war. And the rest of the countries have basically said, yeah, we really don't need to be tariffing the U.S. Fine. We'll level the playing field.
Did you guys see?
But there's going to be, part of the negotiation is you're not going to be doing final product for China either.
A funny quick tangent. Did you guys see that the Black Ops 2 story was it was essentially a Cold War between the U.S. and China in the year 2025 when they were refusing. They stopped the export of precious metals or gems or something like that, and it's exactly what's happening right now. People are like, there's definitely a time traveler that was a part of the dev team of Black Ops 2.
Right.
But
I mean, that's the simple explanation on what's going on.
Okay.
And that's the explanation of why countries are so willing to come to the table to renegotiate, because it really is not going to get passed on to the consumer. And even in most cases, Little Chad's been bringing this one up nonstop. Nike producing their shoes in China. You get a tariff slapped on it. Nike's probably going to absorb that $8 rather than charging another $8 to the U.S. consumer. But if the U.S. consumer did get charged it, your $110 shoes are going to go to $120. Most people aren't even batting an eye at that for a pair of shoes. Because if you're already willing to pay $110 for Nikes, you're probably willing to pay $120 just for the brand name.
Sneakerheads are the weirdest people on the planet, so they're bad.
Yeah, that's why it's a weird example. But I mean, Nike would probably end up just eating that $8 per pair of shoes because
sneakerheads are idiots. They'll double the amount and they won't care, and they'll still buy the shoes.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
But the point is, the cost to make those shoes in China is like $9.
Yeah, $9 and one soul of an Asian child.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, yeah.
So that's the other side of this. You start producing things in the U.S. or places outside of China and don't use their child labor. Sure, the cost may go up a little bit, but then you're getting rid of another problem.
Well, that's the crazy thing is when it comes to like the regulations or lack thereof overseas, even by deregulating in the United States, like I wonder, like how do you compete with that, like that labor that's like pennies on the dollar over there? Like I mean, is it the tariffs then? Is that
you
just
get
like,
people making real wages again, and they are willing to buy things that are made here because they have the money to do it, rather than buying cheap crap from Temu, which is just Chinese knockoffs that they've stolen ignore patent law.
Yep.
Plus, you're putting to work more people on a real wage in the U.S. because we do have some regulations. So these factories that are going to get repurposed, a lot of the factories that have just shut down in the last 10 years will get repurposed into something else. And people will go work those jobs. And if they're not willing to work the jobs for the price that they were paying, illegal immigrants here, then they're going to have to raise the wages to make it attractive for people to work those jobs. Also, technology is coming in. You may not need 50 people to work those jobs. You may need 25 people to work those jobs because you've got robotics doing the other job of the other 25 people. So
they're not nice
ultimately, it's to kickstart the economy, because we've had 4 years that are almost impossible to turn around without taking drastic measures, because they printed so much freaking money. We're $37 trillion in debt.
Yeah,
it can't go on that way.
It's just,
so somebody's got to rip off the Band-Aid, and it's going to hurt.
Yeah, all this is going to be, at the end of the day, it's all just going to be not for nothing, but like I think it's one of those things that like you could look back on in several years and be like, this was likely a selfless act on Trump's part, because he's not going to get credit for it. Like he's going to put things into motion. You're going to hope that things go the way they should, and then the next person.
The perfect time to do it, because he is a lame duck. He cannot run again.
Yeah.
So this is the scenario that happens. Clinton gets in the next time, and then everyone says Clinton fixed the economy, and that's what the narrative will be for the next 50 years.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is like the next person who gets in is going to be a Democrat. They're going to be given the credit of it. And
okay, whatever. If it fixes our debt issue, it's good for America either way. Yeah. Whoever gets the credit half of the country will know who to credit, and the other half will try to make up fake history again. That's always been that way.
Yeah.
But the important thing is, we may go through a little bit of pain. A whole bunch of people were freaking out about the stock market 2 days ago.
Now everybody's trying to accuse him of insiders trading.
Main Street is not who they're focused, or Main Street is who they're focused on, not Wall Street. So, 80%, or probably closer to 60% of the country is not involved in the stock market, besides maybe their retirement funds.
Mm-hmm.
All they need is a bounce back. It's already bounced back. And they're not doing anything that is going to, in the short term, really destroy your life. What they're doing is setting us up for long-term success to reboot the economy and reset the global econoing.
That's one of the things that people are being people are being highly critical of, because they're like, and one thing I guess I don't understand, and people keep saying, it's like, oh, now all of a sudden tanking the stock market is a good thing. Like what's the deal? Like, is this really a thing? And I don't know anything about it. It seems suspicious that now we have to like tank the stock market to come out better. Like, again,
people have to stop equating the stock market to the economy. The stock market grew by record numbers under Biden's administration. And yet we all felt the pain of it down here at the regular level. People became billionaires during Biden's economy. But everybody who is living on an actual paycheck was getting absolutely gang raped by the government.
Which, by the way, this is where I'm going to have to give Trump a hard time, because if he hadn't done the whole Operation Warp Speed and 2,500 days to slow the spread and all this COVID nonsense, then
right, biggest transfer of wealth in history, right?
Yeah. Now, whether he did that intentionally or he was set up by his corrupt administration, I don't know. But
so he's either a criminal or incompetent.
Right.
In that area, nobody's perfect. So, I mean, if that's the measure, but yeah.
But the other worry with tariffs was that we were going to push all these countries into working with China. The exact opposite happened. Everybody came to the table. China's being isolated. I mean, at the moment, people aren't real happy with China. They're not going to win this. I mean, they're still pretty upset. They're pretty upset about COVID still being released by China. I mean, China doesn't have the greatest outlook from the world on the political stage. So,
yeah, but they have the most slaves in the world at the moment, so at least they're doing something.
Yep.
Progress takes sacrifice.
They're also not replacing their people because people aren't having enough babies because they had the one-child rule for so long. So they've only got a few more years before they've got severe population decline that sets in.
Yeah, but they've got a billion people. They could lose half of it and it's not going to make too much of a difference.
It does
when
if
you put
you can,
it that way.
It does. So here's the thing. If they do go into a tariff or a trade war with the U.S. and we stop taking their products, their people start losing jobs. The only way that Xi keeps power is by keeping his people somewhat happy or at least somewhat employed. If they have to start shutting down everything, China goes into shambles.
Right.
What they'll start doing is devaluing their currency again to try to fight this, which Trump called them out in his first term for that. I mean, either way, they're sunk if they don't play ball.
And I can understand from that aspect because they've gone through their best economic period in a long time.
Yes.
Their economy's almost rock solid.
But it's a lot of artificial and it's a lot of theft.
Yeah.
But making money's still making money, and the economy is the economy. It's not like
big bubbles can pop.
Not doing good.
Yes,
the means are irrelevant.
They've been doing good, but like King just said, big bubbles can pop pretty quick.
Yeah, I didn't say it otherwise. I was just saying that, like, I can understand why they want to hold because their economy's good at the moment, thinking that they'll be able to ride through it.
Right.
Oh, sure. There's a lot of pride involved in it. Yeah, it's like, oh well, they're trying to flex and hold the line and do their thing, and that's fine in their own national interest. Okay, but
same thing America's doing.
They would fare much better if they would just play ball in the long term. In the short term, yeah.
Why would they want to play ball when everything's working for them at the moment? That's the point. They're not in a huge deficit. You guys are. Why would they be willing to change or even want to change?
Because they're in a huge trade deficit to us. So the tariffs can
destroy
them.
To you, but not to everyone else.
Right, but we're the economy that they deal with.
Right. We essentially build their economy. We are.
It's a 1 to 5 deficit with China and the U.S.
Yeah, and they're still going good. That's what I'm saying.
Right, and what I'm saying is the tariffs, if it shuts down our side of it, and they're not getting any consumers to buy any of their stuff from America, then that's a huge blow to their whole economic system.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I can understand the aspect with both of them going head to head against each other, but it's not going to be.
Why would they want that to happen? Is why would they not want to come to the table if it's going to destroy their economy?
Because I don't think they truly believe that. That's the point. They still got the steadfast belief in their own economy. They find a way around. So that's what I think. I don't think this is going to be anything that's resolved anytime soon. Definitely not in Trump's time. That's for sure.
Probably not.
Because they're
But
just
the
hoping
Band-Aid's
to.
ripped now.
They're just hoping to hold on enough till the next person comes in and then deal with them instead. And who knows? They might find a favorable.
Now that's
candidate.
fair. That's a fair assessment because that's probably what they're doing. They're trying to do the art of the deal back and playing hardball at the moment.
We'll get another paid-for politician from the other side.
Yeah, and buying time, to kicking the can down the road to hopefully
America's first Asian president. Let's go.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on something before we kind of wrap things up, but I just saw this thing. I think someone brought it up earlier about South of Midnight. Maybe it was you, King, about Sweet Baby Inc.
I mean, sorry, yeah, Sweet Baby Inc. Not the
so. Yeah, so as wrote, South of Midnight is a horrendously written game where the black female protagonist gets her powers from checks notes picking cotton, but they can't call it cotton because of optics, so they call it floofy. It also has blight assets from Dragon Age: The Veilguard in it too. Not that BioWare needs them anymore. The main character is an entitled brat that cares only for herself. Sweet Baby Inc. Do it again. Is this true? Like,
I've seen, I've watched some gameplay of it. I mean, for what it is, I guess there's people out here that could enjoy it. I mean, it's not for me, but you know.
Well, no, I mean, let's go through the logic of this here. If Sweet Baby Inc. is like a company that's supposed to like root out this shit and like be inclusive, but like, aren't they supposed to like? I mean, if it's true that you're out there picking cotton for power.
Well, technically, she doesn't pick the cotton; she weaves it. She's the weaver.
She's a weaver.
Yeah. She's not the picker. She's the person that does the stuff with the stuff that gets picked.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, interpretations, but you know.
So she weaves. What is she?
She's like weaving silk and using it to like using it like Spider-Man, like with like a rope or like, I don't know, like it looks like different things from what I'm looking at right now.
Right.
Okay, but I guess my question is, like, is this actually a racist thing, or is it actually a cleverly done?
It's not really.
It's not.
They try to make it. People try to paint it that way, but it's because of the association between. I mean, you can infer that it might be cotton or whatever. It's not, but whether that was their intention or not, you know,
I mean, the part where she gets her power ups by eating watermelon, that might be a little bit on the nose, but apart from that,
yeah. So I mean, it's not really, but it's just the racial stereotypes, the associations. It's a very Southern inspired game.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I have the game installed. So
essentially, the weaver, she takes the material, they imbue some sort of thing with it, and it's used to heal people. And it's through that process that she gets her powers.
Drawing from the dad comes back, he'll have to pay child support, and he ain't trying to do that.
Yeah.
Huh.
But I mean, even if it was blatantly what they've been accused of, can a game like that not exist?
Well, my thing is like it's an original game. It's like it's not like they're trying to take a game series that people love and trying to force things in it.
Yeah.
It's like if they want to make a game, like everybody keeps saying it's like, go ahead, make things that are for your audience, whatever. We're just not going to buy it. They made something for their audience. It's like, if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. But you don't need to like rip into them for making this game necessarily.
I mean, yeah, it definitely leans into stereotypes. But back to your point, Shags, it's when it isn't Sweet Baby Inc. supposed to root out these things. But we know from experience, often the most racist among us are the social justice warriors, the ones who they care so much. They're narcissists, but they care so much, and they just want to tell people how they're struggling. And
Yeah, I get that, but I guess what I mean is like, so are we assuming that like this was like that like this was like a white person?
You're asking if Sweet Baby signed off on this?
Yeah, like is it like some white person at Sweet Baby Inc. that has some that needs to deconstruct their internalized racism that signed off on this, or are we just like or what? Like, because again,
come on, DEI hires, it wasn't a white person.
What's what I mean? It's like what the question really becomes: is this manufactured outrage, or is this a legitimate concern for a game? Like the game
manufactured outrage, plain and simple. That's the way I looked at it. Once I looked into the whole thing, it was just like, okay, they built a game. They've got these stories. It's got these elements that you know nothing about because it's got nothing to do with your way of life, your culture, or anything like that. Therefore, it has to be on the nose because you think that maybe people talking with a really thick Southern accent when they didn't at that area was a problem. I don't know. It's just a shitty game that. Put it this way: the fact that they said they couldn't do an open world game for this, and they built worlds that are as big as what it is dumb and it's a waste. So there's a lot of idiots behind the making of the game. But story wise, it's just a hero's adventure, plain and simple from start to finish. You power up, you get stronger, you go along, but it happens to be set in the South after Hurricane Katrina or whatever they're calling it.
Sounds like it's bait.
Bait for what though?
Bait for rage.
Right. It is. It's that's part of the manufacturing there. It's got you. It's well, let's lean heavy into the stereotypes. So the bigots online will talk about it, and then we can point at them and say, "See, we were right."
Yeah.
Look at them talking about it.
It's just like I don't know, man. I look at that game and I think, man, that's a cool art style. I like what I see so far. I just downloaded it, or it's like halfway downloaded. I paused it for the show, but like it's on Game Pass. It seems like the perfect game to be on Game Pass. And like kind of like what Raiken was saying, like people have been asking for like original IPs and games. Like make a game that you want to play. Like okay,
right. And
being a stop motion art style as well really plays into something new and unique. I like that.
Yeah, like I mean, to me, it seems like a win kind of all around, and like that's where I'm like the manufacturer outrage of like the cotton. Like, okay, if it really was that, like I guess I'd be like, oh, but I don't know. I
think it's kind of funny, but
why would that be an issue if you've got a character that was doing something like that and then she moves herself out of it and becomes something more? Why is that not a good story?
No, I
don't understand.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree with you for sure.
Because if that's the case, we should have left Django chained up. Like,
yeah. But that is part. This is part of it. We want them to make original games. See, this is the goalpost shifting. Make your original game. Stop messing with our IPs. Okay, let's make our original games. Now it's going to have we're going to make our original game with our ideology, and we're going to make it about the story we want to tell. Oh, well, that's not good enough because you're leaning into racial stereotypes and you're making it about the black people. Aren't you supposed to be against that? And it's like never good enough. It's never good enough. I mean, it's got to be something all the time.
To be honest, this is the first I've heard of any of this. About this game.
The worst
heard of this game at all.
Brahma not knowing about a game with a black woman as a lead, I'm shocked.
The only legit like criticism I've heard against this game, and I'm like skeptical of, is I know Epic Mike has been very critical that the studio had hired a voice actress and then they got rid of her because she didn't sound he says black enough. But what I guess my take on it was like maybe, and this would not be. I mean, I figured like maybe it wasn't the Southern accent that they were looking for. They felt they needed a more Southern an accent, which again, it doesn't make it good necessarily. Like I think you need to have that shit locked down before you hit record. But you know, I don't know if it was necessarily as nefarious as some may believe, and I could be wrong. You know. But I don't think we'll ever really know. But that's the most controversial thing I've heard regarding this game, like prior to its release, anyway.
Yeah, I just think if you're going to spend as much time developing a game, making vast areas and everything like that. Make it open world. Why build an open world and then limit to a linear path?
I mean, they're at least not overcharging for it.
Yeah, no,
Like
yeah,
40
it's
bucks.
pretty,
Right.
I think it's pretty cheap here. So
Good point.
If it was like a big open world, like, or if it was the game that they like non-open world, more linear, and they charge like 60, 70 bucks, like,
Yeah.
it, like, I think it would get a lot more. It would get a lot more shit.
And there's a whole lot of factors, like artistically, it could have been a limitation. Maybe they're just not good at open world, trying to tie in a narrative to an open world. Maybe it was just too much beyond the scope of what they were trying to achieve.
Well, this is
quite
also,
possibly, yeah.
this is also like a Microsoft game, right? Funded by Microsoft, at least.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's like published by Microsoft, and like Microsoft has, I think maybe like they're trying to not go big and crazy with their games right now, because like
it's gone on every platform but PlayStation.
Yeah, like every time like Microsoft does like a big game, it always ends up being really shit. So I think they're like, maybe we should just try making smaller games with original IP rather than trying to make these big ambitious games.
Oh, did we lose Grant?
Grant just destroy himself.
He said, "Screw this! I'm tired of it. Out of here." No, he didn't. When you know what? Before we wrap up, I do have to get, because we're all men here. Is it Kristi Noem and those photo shoots of her, chasing down illegal immigrants or whatever,
pretending to be an ICE agent, acting like an idiot?
Oh.
Wait, who?
It's Kristi Noem.
Kristi Noem, head
I
of
thought it was
DHS.
The girl boss.
Used to be the governor of South Dakota.
I thought it was the fucking Libs of TikTok lady too. That's been.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, she was with her. Yeah,
Reiken.
Reiken. Yeah.
Which is
I called that out the other day. She went through all this. Oh, I was doxxed. What was it? Taylor Lorenz who doxed her or whatever. Oh, yeah. I was doxxed. I'm such a victim. But she doesn't look like a victim. She's very comfortable with her popularity now. Yeah,
but she also, Libs of TikTok has been a very, in my opinion, very important, follow on Twitter for a few years, pointing out.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. Yeah, it's just kind of gone beyond calling out the groomers on TikTok and all that. The trans ideology pushing in schools. When you're chasing down illegal immigrants, it's like, okay, let the ICE agents do their job.
Yeah, I don't like Kristi Noem being anywhere near the actual ICE raids or anything happening, because she's the head of the DHS. She should be acting like it and not taking photo ops every chance she gets, with her makeup completely done and her hair coming out of her hat in just the right way, holding a gun that she probably, while qualified to use a gun because she is a hunter, should probably not be holding in these photo ops, because I mean, if any of her underlings were taking a whole bunch of photos that were basically just to prop them up and get them more likes, they'd probably be in trouble if they were in uniform, taking pictures with their guns, saying, "I'm going after this illegal."
Yeah,
they're probably in trouble. But that's exactly what she's doing.
Right. The whole girl boss stuff, it looks utterly ridiculous for a woman to be standing around all them men, some of them twice, 3 times her size, trying to act tough. It just, to me, optically. Now, maybe it's just because I'm not an effeminate loser.
No, even Megyn Kelly was calling her out today, going, "Stop it. You're a freaking idiot. Get back in your office and do your job." Yeah,
it looks so bad. It's optically like nobody takes you seriously. Let the men do their job. Go back. I mean, if y'all don't mind me being misogynist for a moment, let the men do their job. Go back, find a kitchen. Like, go do something other than trying to act tough. We don't.
Well, don't even have to go that far. Go back, get in your office, and start signing the paperwork to get these people out of here, because that's what you were hired for. You're not running for office right now. You've got a job. You're the head of DHS. Do your job and stop pretending and play acting, LARPing, that you're actually part of the teams in ICE that are going to chase down people.
Yeah. I'm just being hyperbolic, but yeah, absolutely.
No, I know.
Like, just go and do your job. Like, nobody's like, you're not chasing down the illegal.
She's already got bad blood with people for, well, not necessarily with me, but she's got bad blood with people for shooting her dog in the face.
Yeah.
And then she's got bad blood with some of the rest of us for possibly having an affair with Corey Lewandowski while she was the governor. So
yeah,
she's not sitting on good grounds at the moment either way.
Well,
say what?
No, I want to read off these super chats real quick.
Yeah.
Because a serious man came through and allowed us to hit our goal, and then Weasel as well. A serious man says, just buy them a gift already. And then Weasel said what he said. So yes, of course, we hit our goal for tonight. We got a little bit extra to put on top of our previous goal 2 weeks ago. So we will add that in the pot, make sure everyone gets in there. Thank you guys so much for those. It's awesome. Sheep and Alvarado will get something nice and fancy from y'all. So, yeah. I don't like the loser TikTok lady anymore. I'm just going to say it. I think she's an attention whore.
Well, yeah, no, yeah. At first, I think being forced into the limelight, being exposed, or being, well, I don't want to say exposed. She was doxxed, but being, it just, and now she's, holding up binders and chasing down immigrants.
It's being doxxed, but then it's like, okay, but then after being doxxed, she got to go to all these different parties, meet all these different people, and then it's just like, you kind of probably get some kind of self-importance there, and so then you just think like, okay, I can just start.
And I know people can go on down the conspiracy route, but I just think it's like you said, it's like the popularity has gotten to her head.
Yeah,
the popularity got to her head, and then I think she's like, okay, now that she's like out there, people seem to like her. It's like, okay, now anything that I say or do is going to be okay. It's like, no, you're going to get criticized for doing dumb shit. If even people on the right are going to say like, that's kind of dumb. Don't do that.
Yeah, but as much as I think all of us would like to think we would know how we would react in that situation.
Oh, I'm like,
I don't know that we would.
No, I don't know how I would.
I mean, it's kind of like looking at all the right-wing influencers a few weeks ago who were shilling for pop or soda or Coke, whatever vernacular you use in your region.
Yep. Well,
that was a tough one because, see, I don't want to give the government any more authority. I don't care that it's soda. I don't care that it's on they don't need any more excuse to restrict anything. I'd rather at that point, SNAP benefits, food stamps, whatever you want to call it, welfare, just dump it all in trash if it means having it will give the government more power over the citizens than it already has.
That's one place I disagree with you, because if they're using our taxpayer money to give these people money to get the basics to stay alive with food, the EBT cards and SNAP, they shouldn't be allowed to buy crap. They should have to be buying something that is actually nutritious for their family. It used to be like meat, bread, and a few other things is what those benefits were for.
They still are. It's just
except now you can buy every processed food and not get anything that has actually any nutritional value. If the whole point was to keep your family alive, I don't think you're gonna.
But you can keep your family alive on Cheetos.
Yeah, that's the
problem.
You
know what else? You can also use your own money for your Coke or your Dr. Pepper.
Yeah,
and use your taxpayer money to get actual food.
But that's why I said this is the qualifier here. I'd rather welfare go away if it means having to be restricted. And this from someone like personally, I grew up, there was times where my parents, both working parents, struggle. We had to be on food stamps. It is what it is.
I get what you're saying, and yes, I would rather it go away altogether either way.
Yeah,
but
and it was times.
Since it's already a government program, it's not the government doing anything to any of us who aren't on food stamps. It's already a government-run program. There should be restrictions on what you can get. Like there are already restrictions. You can't buy alcohol. You can't buy cigarettes.
Yeah.
Well, alcohol.
You can't buy other things that are at the grocery store and supermarkets.
Yeah, I honestly don't think it's a stretch for anyone to bring up like, oh, you shouldn't be able to buy soda with food stamps because there's no nutritional value to it. At some point it becomes a luxury item if you're so poor, or if you're having to depend on the government for your food products.
But
soda becomes a luxury item.
It also, it can adversely affect your health anyway. Like you're giving yourself you can be giving yourself more problems than you're solving. Like, oh, you're thirsty? Then get some water. Like drink water out of the faucet, or buy bottles of water or gallons of water if you need to.
And I do agree with King to the degree of technically I don't need the government telling me what's healthy or not. But when it's everybody else's money
know what's healthy
getting given to you, yes, I believe there should be some controls.
My issue is that these programs are created by the taxpayers. A lot of the times it's not, because there are requirements. I don't know about all 50 states, but majority of them, there's work requirements. Like you can't just stay indefinitely on welfare. Like that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are still on the old mindset of, the old stereotypes. Because back in the day,
queen.
And it was true back then, but a long time ago, years now, have cut a lot of that, like the workarounds off. You can't be Shaquisha, with her 4, kids and the baby daddies, working under the table so they don't have to pay back child support. It's like that, all of that, they're they're living it high on food stamps. No, it doesn't work like that anymore. And there are some people who can finagle and lie about their living situations. Statistically, that's still low. The majority of people who are receiving the benefits are elderly and kids who are living in, situations where a parent has lost their job, or whether, regardless of whatever the reasons, they at one point were working though, or they're actively trying to work, or they're working part-time, and they're still paying in taxes, whether it be payroll taxes or whatever. They're paying, they're still at some point or another paying in those taxes. So what do we do? What do we do then? We're saying, okay, well, let's restrict. No, soda's not nutritious. We're going to tell you it's not nutritious. It doesn't matter. Let's restrict it. Okay, fine. But what do you do about the taxpayers who don't have an issue with it, who have paid into the system, who now need to rely on it? Oh, well, I can't have me a soda on Friday because I've been busting my ass trying to find a job, or I've been working this part-time job, just barely making rent. I can't have a soda. Like it takes all of my paycheck to make rent. I can't have a soda. Like to me, there's so many nuances and little things like that like pop out to me. Like at that point, I just rather, as much as it helped me growing up, my family, I'd rather it not exist if it means the government has to come in and say.
And it is nuanced. And I mean, my issue is more that the right-wing influencers were getting paid to basically have that take.
Yeah,
and
no,
I don't believe
that
they
was
legitimately believed anything that they were saying, because most of the right wing or conservatives are saying, no, I don't think you should be able to buy a whole bunch of junk food off of the taxpayer dime.
Yeah, but that crap was wrong. Shilling for Coca-Cola and that was definitely. Yeah, I'm not down with that either.
And when you look at the amount of money that Big Soda gets from EBT and SNAP, it's a ridiculous amount of money.
It's addictive. It's one of those addictive
foods. What div?
Addictive.
But I think we're trying to wrap now.
Not addictive, but
I did bring up one thing in the back that I thought was funny about the tariff thing. It's just
Serious Man said, "You're welcome. Now get them something nice." I will. Thank you for becoming a member, sir. Love you.
All right.
What is this? Bring it up on your screen and I'll share it. Oh, you did.
It's shared in the back. It's Xi reading The Art of the Deal and Trump reading The Art of War.
Nice. That's good.
It is good.
Very good.
Good laugh to end the talk.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was tense, but I enjoyed it.
Well, did the explanation make sense? Because I haven't explained it on many streams, but I'm trying to simplify it down, and I think that video helps simplify it down to kind of what the plan is. But it's a complicated issue, and I'm of course not a complete expert on it. I just try to pay as much attention as I can.
Not a financial advisor.
I'll sum it up again, like Quarter Black called me out on it. It gets hard. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. It gets hard.
It does, but
it gets
like
real hard.
You were specifically talking with with Grant about Australia. It's like, well, I don't know if Australia has been doing some of the same stuff that Vietnam and Taiwan have been doing, and doing final product in Australia, because that could have been part of the reason. So
right, exactly. Like
it's not all cut and dried
that are missing for me.
But the overall thing is, it's across the board. That's the way he's doing it. It's not, we're playing favorites. Even Israel got nailed with it. Canada got nailed with it. They're all coming to the table to have talks.
The end of the show got nailed with it. We're all getting nailed with it.
Yeah, we're getting nailed with it.
It gets hard and they're getting nailed.
RaikenNight, what do you got coming up, man? It's always good to see you. I hope gymnastics going well. Hope your knee isn't too fucked up. But what's happening with you?
Well, let's see. Tomorrow, I'm going to be playing Baldur's Gate 3 with some Rumble people. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next week because we'll be in Vegas, so I don't know if I'll get in a couple streams beforehand.
You coming?
Yeah, I'm going to be there. So
nice.
It's only a 5-hour drive for me. So
nice.
Going to be doing that next week. Hopefully the knee gets better. Thankfully this happened today and not last week when I was gone to actually do flips and a competition. So that was a lot of fun. So thankfully I did not get injured then, but hopefully it gets better because I want to continue doing flips.
Hell yeah. Brahma, what do you got coming up, dude?
Tomorrow I will not be on Comics Division show because I am taking my daughter to the last home regular season Avs game against her second favorite team, the Vancouver Canucks. So she's going to be cheering for the Canucks while we're at the home game with the Avs. Not real excited about that part of it, but spending some time with the daughter. And then, let's see, Friday, Ascent and Art, Saturday, Bourbon and Boarding, talking about hockey. We are doing a bracketology, so if you have any interest in the Stanley Cup playoffs, contact me or that 70s rock fan, and you can get into our bracketology for the Stanley Cup. Sunday morning, I've got the bullpen where I talk politics with little Chad.
Nice. And you're going to be in Vegas next week, too?
I will be in Vegas from Wednesday till the following Monday.
Wow. Damn, you fancy.
Yeah. Flights are cheaper on Monday than getting out on the weekend.
That's true. Unless you're flying to where I'm flying, which is super cheap regardless.
I'm Colorado Springs. We're about the same distance.
Same.
I mean, ultimately it's I think my last flight on Southwest with 2 free bags because they've changed the rules.
Mine, so, I think when I fly home, I'm on Spirit, so I'm like kind of hoping my flight gets canceled. So I can stay
You're going to be lucky to live.
Right, yeah. Yeah. King, you're not usually here, but what do you got coming up? Do you want to plug your stuff?
Giving glory to God, Twitter apologetics, because going after heretics is fun. That's it. Nice. Getting ready for Easter. That's it.
Nice,
nice. And running my mouth. That's it. Yeah, I'm not going to Vegas.
I'll be in Vegas for Easter. My wife is not incredibly thrilled. She's actually flying back Saturday so she can get back for Easter.
Nothing short of the Lord's intervention will get me on an airplane. I just cannot do. I don't know that I'd be able to do it. Maybe.
Serious man. I look forward to seeing you. We'll grab a pic while we're there.
Mm-hmm.
You got to come to some meetup at some point, King. We gotta meet. We gotta have a beer. We gotta share something at some point.
What region are you in, King?
Oh, South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the place where you take your shirt off and wave it over your head like a helicopter?
I think there's a non-sanctioned
North Carolina
meetup happening in Nashville this summer.
Oh,
really?
I think so.
Oh, cool.
Non-sanctioned being just not FNT, just
okay.
other people in the fellowship that are throwing stuff together.
Yeah, there's gonna be one in Salt Lake City too, guys. So come on down. We're all hanging.
No thanks.
No. Wow.
just
That's only a few hours away, and I'm no go.
All right, y'all. That's going to do it for us tonight. Appreciate y'all. We will not be here next week. I'm just going to let everyone know right now so I don't have to surprise everyone, but we're going to be in Vegas. Most of us will be in Vegas having fun. So check us out. I'm sure G&G will be having their streams. We'll be popping in the background, saying hello. Maybe if I'm bored, maybe I'll just pop on my phone too and just hang out. I don't know. We'll see. I don't really want to do a stream next week because I just want to chill and hang out with the boys.
But you'll do a last minute TikTok.
What I'll probably do is I'll probably do an airport stream, like my version of Conversation in Airport is usually what I do while I wait.
The Wheel of Fortune machine in the airport.
Yes.
The one that always hits as you're on your way out of Vegas because nothing hits in Vegas.
Yep.
Airport rules are different.
MetaStep came through with a 5. Thank you so much for the 5, bro. Make sure to put that through to the pot to Amarada and Sheep's Gift. Thank you very much. You guys have been awesome. This is the real outro this time. Thank you. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. See ya. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
I like to put stuff online.